everybody, man. What's going down, yo? This is something, yo. I definitely did not expect this to happen here. As here we are, man. I mean, all the stuff with Times Square just ended here, and we saw what ended up happening there with the decision. As you have Rolly Romero defeating Ryan Garcia by unanimous decision to become the WBA regular welterweight champion. Once again, the WBA regular welterweight champion. We all know who the WBA super champion is. Okay. And that being said, now we just look at what we just saw here, man. That was probably Rolly Romero's best performance in a fight. Yeah, we knew about the odds that Ryan Garcia was there like minus 900, highest like 10 to 1 or minus 1,000 or whatever it is, and Rolly was at like plus 550 or something like that, around plus 550, plus 650 in the odds. But he was able to outbox. He was able to outbox Ryan Garcia. That's crazy, yo. He was able to outbox Ryan Garcia. Who would have thought that, y'all? Who would have thought that? You know what I mean? This is, something that a number of people have pretty much been reacting to. I just, got off the live, stream there with my god brother, Mill, YSM Sports Media, and we just saw, a Ryan Garcia that, hey, he just wasn't there, man. He just wasn't there. Okay, you didn't see them quick twitch, punches. You didn't see them combinations. You didn't see him, really there just trying to throw them quick 1-2s, 1-2, 1-2, going with the hook, or at least quick with the hook. He was very predictable with the left hook, right? You know what I'm saying? So hold on, I'm gonna see if I could get one one guest here to jump on here with me to talk about these fights here in a little bit. So I'm trying to set that whole thing up here real fast so I can get one at least one person on. So just give me a minute and then I'll be able to have them join us. But you kind of seen Ryan Garcia be really predictable in a number of his punches there. And you didn't see him be very aggressive at all. Well, you kind of didn't see that much for both fighters there, as it was mentioned there from, commentators or whatnot, Jim Lampley on the joint, you know what I mean? And of course, like Antonio Tarver on the joint. That we had a unbelievable output, so to speak, as it was almost like an average of less than 20 punches per round, supposedly according to CompuBox, which didn't really look right to me. It looked like they said that Ryan Garcia outlanded Rolly Romero over the course of those 12 rounds. I ain't really see that. I'm sorry, I didn't see that at all. And the thing about it is too, right, is that I just felt like Ryan Garcia just did not do much at all over the course of those 12 rounds. I didn't see him be really aggressive with the jab until the second half of the fight. And even so, he was still tentative to what Rolly Romero was doing. I think that hook, that the double left, basically threw him off. You know what I mean? So that's what we see, or at least I will talk about here right off the rip. But props to Rolly Romero for fighting the fight that he was able to fight. He kind of like was a very disciplined fighter in this, as far as like how he would be able to move around, as far as like his shoulder movement, head movement, that type of thing, throwing feints, setting up shots, mixing up the jab, whether it's upstairs or to the body. And, was able to land a couple of power shots there over the course of this fight. But, I think a number of people, going off of what they saw are probably surprised about Ryan Garcia's lack of activity over the course of the 12 rounds, while others may not be so surprised with Ryan Garcia's lack of activity over the course of 12 rounds, given what happened in his last fight. But glad to have another guest here that's going to be coming on here to talk about these fights. Of course, has been on here on the Boxing Source channel. Got a channel of his own. You'll be able to follow him on YouTube, follow him on social media. That's right. It's my guy, the topic here in the building, man. What's happening with you?
What up, Brody?
What's good with you, man? What's good, man? I mean, here we are, man. Hey, I told people, I mean, they could still have the rematch, but I'm gonna get the ring. They could still have the rematch, you know. And hey, this is like I was sending in the text. This is like Zahir Rahim versus Eric Morales, man. This had me having flashbacks of that fight where Zahir Rahim was able to do his thing against Eric Morales while Manny Pacquiao was watching. You know what I mean?
I mean, like we had talked about the other day on the what was the mid report that you did
Yeah,
or something like that.
yeah, sometime back, yeah.
Both fighters have flaws, and we both were saying, you know what I'm saying, they're reaction based fighters where
Mm-hmm.
there's acceptable both to just reacting, and that to
Yeah.
me is kind of what happened. They both kind of just uh, Rollies tapped that chin, and that's what got that reaction that changed the whole fight. And like I was saying too, um, Ryan is he's not a flawless fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like I know he had a big, drop against Haney, but like I had said about his performance then, even with that, I'm like, it's still all right. That still was an all right performance. He started real good. I liked what I was seeing out of Ryan starting the fight with the jab. I said, okay, this
Mm-hmm.
jab got some pop on it. If he can start to really, if he commit to that, you know what I mean? If he start really committing to that and being intentional with, I'm gonna work with this, he could have really fought clean with that jab. But
Mm-hmm.
Rolly, we know Rolly's unorthodox style. What I mean, his whole thing is, you know what I mean, just unorthodox. Where when he doing this, he gonna probably come with something over the top or something like that, and
Yeah.
that's what happened. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's. I was surprised, bro. Yeah,
Yeah.
kinda, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I knew Rolly had got some crack too. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I knew that it was a possibility. And then I've seen Ryan go down before, so I know he's not,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
privy.
It
Once
ain't
you've
like man,
gone
I ain't
down,
seen nothing like that. Yeah.
right, once you've been down before, it's still there in you. And we've seen some glimpses of that in the Haney fight, but we'll get to that. You know what I mean?
Word, for sure, for sure. Now,
Yeah, bro.
got another folk here to jump on with me to react to what's going down. That's my guy. Of course, the elephant in the room. My guy Smitty in the building. What's happening with you? Hold up. See if I got you on. Can't hear you through the audio here. Hold up. Yeah. See if it. Yeah, still ain't able to hear you. Oh, you probably gotta jump off and jump back on here so we be able to get what he got there, man. But yeah, the thing with them first couple of rounds, you kind of seen both of them fighters to be very tentative, during those first couple of rounds, and then after that, once you saw Rolly kind of like his quick twitch movements, he was just moving, whether he was throwing punches or not, he was just still moving, up and down, and with a guy like Ryan Garcia, who's flat-footed, basically, he's speed. He has speed with his hands, but it's as you said, he's like a reactionary fighter. So if he doesn't like start off aggressive with it, then he's gonna be like waiting on what Rolly does. And Rolly just pretty much like had around the same speed or close to the speed of Ryan Garcia. And all he had to do is just be the aggressor and just, throw Ryan Garcia off a little bit. Because with Ryan being flat footed, it's not like he's gonna move off to the side or if he's gonna have a quick step back, he's gonna be right there for you. And so that's what ended up happening there in the second round, where you had Rolly just, pretty much like did down and then hit one left hook that, connected, and then another one with the momentum that put Ryan Garcia down. And after that, you just really didn't see much as far as like Ryan Garcia kind of like step up as far as like his confidence in his offense until like well late in the fight.
Yeah, like I'm gonna say, I feel like that whole Times Square thing too. I don't know how much of a factor that could have played. Them hopping out of cars and driving down the street and stuff that's a little unconventional to the normal, I guess, preparation of that. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I don't want to attribute the performance to solely that. But like I say, coming out the first round, I was impressed. I usually judge fights to see who's landing first, or who's landing more,
Mm-hmm.
because those can be or how you react to those, you know what I'm saying? And Ryan was landing a good quality stiff jab at first, and even through the fight after he got dropped, he still was landing. I think he didn't have the work rate, you know what I mean, the work rate to steal it. But I think there
Mm-hmm.
would be times that his jab could have got him out of trouble, you know what I mean? But Rolly just was the better, he just was the better man tonight. We can't I don't like to make excuses for like people favorite fighters, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta tip your cap and, you know what I'm saying, say that Rollies was the better man on tonight, even though a lot of people wanted to see, a knockout. Like we were talking about the other day, the betting
Yeah.
odds were so high against them. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
listen, when you got history with somebody, all of that go out the window. You know what I'm saying? Because you'd have shared the ring with this person before.
Right.
It's the uncertainty that usually fighters are like, you know what I mean? The uncertainty. When you kind of a little more certain on it, like, okay, we can, I felt this power before. It's not unbearable, or I've been in there with him before. It's not you know what I mean, doable.
Yeah, it's not like
So
we ain't seen much much different. You know what I mean?
right. And see, too, bro, Rolly had God on his side, man. Rolly had God on his side in this fight. I was listening to little pieces of his press conference, and he was mentioning, he was giving God the glory. God to give you the victory, man. So I had a good idea that it could be an upset tonight.
Yeah, it was just something there that a number of people didn't expect. Coming out of this, but what was it like a couple of hours before the fight card started? Some of the columnists that were on there, they were saying like, maybe there's an upset, but they just didn't know where it would come from. But no one was really like thinking that it was going to be this one though. You know what I mean? They didn't think it was going to be that. You
But
feel
why
me?
not though? What to me, not to knock, but what made Ryan all of a sudden, after all the stuff we've seen, you know what I'm saying, with Ryan, he's gotten dropped a couple times. He got stopped by Tank on a body shot. I think when Campbell dropped him, so he's susceptible to
Right,
it.
Luke Campbell.
We
Yeah.
seen it's not like the Haney fight. He just had like a flawless shutdown. He caught him. You know what I mean? He was on
Mm-hmm.
time and he caught him, but
Got
I
him
still
on a
seen
couple of occasions, but it was
flaws in his
still,
fight.
it was still what a split decision or whatever it was. You know what I mean?
But the
Because
Haney
one of
joint,
those rounds, if it wasn't for those knockdowns, that would have been a clear decision, in favor of Devin Haney. You
so
know,
that's what I'm saying. What made all of a sudden like Ryan just such a heavy, you know what I mean? To me, I'm just like, he's good. But what made him such a head and shoulders favorite against, like, you know what I mean? He got similar flaws than like Rolly, you know what I'm saying? He just might be more fluid, but
and
he's still susceptible to getting broken down and getting punched,
punched
and
and caught.
Rolly's the guy that's
And
careless.
yeah, and the thing, yeah, and to kind of like go to what you were saying there, in reference to a like a Luke Campbell, as you were talking about, that just shows like the technical flaws that Ryan Garcia has, from a defensive perspective. So, when you had that ability where you could get caught, and it's happened on a couple of occasions there with Ryan Garcia, that makes anyone facing them a live dog, or someone that could be close to even. It's just that given his name, I think that's what put a lot of people to put money towards him. And then given what Rolly Romero was going through. Like he, pretty much got, we got stopped by, knocked out by Tank Davis. He got stopped by, Isak Pitbull Cruz. We had that controversial fight there, where he had the win to win that WBA title there at 140 pounds. So, given those performances, not a lot of people really had much confidence in him going into this bout in comparison to a Ryan Garcia.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like I say, I don't know what the people were they, like you say, solely just looking at it off of name versus like actually comparing. Like Rolly's been in some tough fights. You know what I'm saying? Like the dude, what's the dude? What's the guy they were saying was the old man, like Barroso or something
Ismael
like that?
Barroso was the Rolly joint. Yeah,
He was cracking, bro. He
yeah, he
was
was.
he was cracking, and Pitbull cracking,
Yep.
Tank cracking. So Rolly, you know what I mean, you gotta really be in there. I felt like to like he's been in there with some dogs. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
Rolly not just no pushover. You feel me?
Right.
But I understand why people. I don't know. I don't know. Good performance by Rolly. I liked how he was keeping his hand up to catch that hook. He
Yeah.
had
Yep.
a good little defense. Good
Yeah.
game plan. And it could just be a flip of a coin with them punches sometimes. Like we had both
Mhm.
said, who gets there first. And on this night, draw. Rolly drew faster. You know what I'm saying? Rolly
Mhm.
joint landed and tapped that chin. So yeah, man. What you think about you want to do the rest of them or you still want to break down
Uh,
this one?
well, we could go through this one here real quick as far as like what's the aftermath of it. As Rolly was talking about in the week leading into it and stuff like that. That he wouldn't. He's like, what? If y'all want to go ahead and have the rematch, cool. He was like telling Devin Haney, like, hey, you want to go ahead and get your get back, you could do that. So that's looking like what he wants. Basically, is like he's like he don't mind that.
Right,
But
right,
also,
right.
given the situation that happened there with the ramifications of this fight, with the WBA getting involved, saying, "Hey, okay, we're putting the WBA regular championship on here," and I think they did that because they also thought that maybe Ryan Garcia would come out as the victor because, hey, money talks, of course.
You know how they
Um,
go.
yep. So now with Rolly Romero as the WBA regular champion, it still goes on to what they're ordered, which is you have this fight for that particular belt. You have Boots Ennis as the unified champion and WBA super champion that has to honor is mandatory there with Shakram Giasov. So if they go ahead and have that Boots versus Giasov fight and Boots handles, that business, could we potentially see Boots versus Rolly? Now, given who I was just talking with, uh, Boots ain't really interested in all of that. He wants to go for undisputed. But given the situation with the other champions right now,
Hmm.
what else could he do at this particular point?
I mean, like I had at the fight where he fought, I think Shikazi, and I had mentioned to his pops, what about Conor Ben? You know what I mean? And after a big fight like that last week and the global profile, and to me, that fight makes sense. Conor Ben looked real solid in that last fight. If he can't, I don't know if Barrios is, it seemed like everybody's mentioning Barrios, and I haven't seen him commit to anything in the last few, so I don't really know
Mm,
what
well,
Barrios wants to do.
Well, it's all but been laid out. Rumors had been out for a couple of weeks. Reference to Mario Barrios. Look like they're trying to lock down a fight between Barrios and Emmanuel Dapidran Pacquiao. Talked about it on the last midweek report that given what could happen in
Oh
the
yeah, I did see
Senate
that
races
somewhere.
in the Senate races over in the Philippines in a couple of weeks, that could pretty much like determine if Manny Pacquiao would really be free to go ahead and have that fight with Mario Barrios. But this is also the same Manny Pacquiao that on June 7th is supposed to be inducted in the International Boxing Hall of Fame in Canastota, New York. So that would be crazy to have a International Boxing Hall of Famer come back from retirement to fight for the WBC welterweight championship. And well, the president of the World Boxing Council, Mauricio Suleiman, all but said that fight is basically what's going to happen. So
Right.
uh,
How old
that
Pac-Man now? Like
like
45, 46,
like
47,
40,
something?
45 or something, man. Like it's yeah, man.
How long he
It's
been out the ring? That come
yeah,
on,
it's
Pac.
been that 5 years.
Come on, Pac. Come on, bro. We know you the
It's
man, but
46.
45 off a 5 year
40,
layoff.
46, 46. Yes, he's had an exhibition fight. But hey, like I said, money talks. And the thing is like this has actually been hinted at from last year. Actually, they were teasing a fight between Mario Barrios and Manny Pacquiao from last year, but it just didn't go through at that time. So, but now, hey, it's all but looks like it's all but sealed.
I mean, money grab, yeah. Do I even want to see a 45-year-old Pacquiao fight? Not really. I know it's Pacquiao, but say he go out there and get that chin tap, then everybody gonna say, "Oh, he's 45." Like, you feel me? Come on, bro. If he go out there and Barrios, because Barrios is tall too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he's tall. He kind of like has he has like the dimensions like your Dennis Ugas, but as far as like the defensive thing, like not quite there with Ugas. But this is the same Mario Barrios that did defeat your Dennis Ugas. So styles make fights, though. You know what I mean? But here, like, nah, Mario Barrios would like, especially at a fight of that magnitude, he'd probably be super amped up for that, and it wouldn't be all too hot, for Manny Pacquiao if he goes through with that. Let me see here. See if we can do a take two here. For my guy Smitty, if he's in the building there or whatnot. Let me see if he got everything straight. Oh, look like still trying to run a thing for the connects or something like that. Let me see here. I'll probably try to get something on the backstage on that here to see if he can get that situated there. But yeah, so
I
that's the
heard.
thing there for that fight there on the first their main event, right? All right, now let's go to thing there with Devin Haney versus Jose Carlos Ramirez with Devin Haney getting that clear decision win there. And this was a Devin Haney that also had been out of the ring for a whole year. So a number of people, wanted to see, what he would do. And it was more of him kind of like getting himself, I guess, reacclimated to being back in the ring. He usually has times where he's fought like twice a year. So having that extended layoff is something that he hasn't necessarily had before. So you could see about like if it was ring rust or try to get comfortable or whatever it was. It's, if he would be able to do that. You know what I mean, all right. Let me see here, Smitty. You hear me?
Yeah, y'all hear me?
All right. Yeah, you all good, man. We all good.
My bad about telling the iPad wasn't working, so I had to switch to the MacBook, man. My bad, y'all.
Word for sure, man. So yeah, man. We're getting on this thing here with Dev and Jose Carlos Ramirez, and Dev was able to score that clean win, pretty much a near shutout. For me, it was kind of like a shutout for me, man.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I mean, it was a shutout. Dev won, but that wasn't a good performance. I was when Antonio Tarver, he was calling that exactly how I was thinking in my mind, looking at the TV, my phone and the TV. I was like, Dev, it's like you just trying to move around with the hopes and not get caught with nothing. Like you still shell shock. And then it's like I don't know if it was Bill or Shane Mosley, senior. My bad, I was about to say junior, but senior. Neither one of them was telling him, "Let your hands go, shorty. You gotta let them go." If you like, he said after the first fight with Ryan, you gotta swim. You gotta get wet in order to swim. And it was like this time he wasn't even trying to jump in the pool.
Against a guy Ramirez that isn't faster than him.
At all.
Doesn't really have the power behind a number of his punches. And what I was seeing there over the course of the fight, particularly after like round 3, you could see Devin Haney trying a few things here and there, but you could also see that he has that mentality that if he gets caught, that he kind of like gets back, steps back a little bit. Because there's a couple of things there that he tried out, given that he knows that he has some speed advantage and stuff like that, where he was catching Jose Carlos Ramirez with hooks and uppercuts and, a number of the counters. But once he was getting tagged himself there in close quarters, it was like he really didn't want to step it up to, gear number 2. You feel me?
Yeah, I thought he was Devin. I had Devin winning when I made that video. I don't know if you've seen it earlier. I posted. I said I smell an upset in the air. I said the only fight that I see that I know is going to be is Devin. But I was expecting Devin to come out there and say, "All right." At the first couple rounds show, he had ring rust because we all know ring rust is real. You be out the ring for a year, you're gonna start off a little sluggish because you could do 100 rounds of sparring. It is being in the actual action is completely different than sparring. So I was expecting maybe first 2-3 rounds Devin to get his legs back, but then when I said it's round 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I'm like, he's fighting the same way. He's not letting his hands go. He's just moving. I said, you're winning the fight, but I felt Jose Ramirez, Devin should have easily cakewalked him. Like the one judge that scored the fight, Rolly and Ryan, 118, I think to 109. That's why I felt Devin should have did the Ramirez tonight.
Yeah, pretty much like that, or at least scored a knockdown or whatnot. Shout out to Worldwide TV in the building. He said he just saw like the interview with Tate, saying that Rolly can crack, and said, "Hey, that's who you punch him the hardest." It was pretty much like the styles. Like it's more about his technique as far as like being quick twitch and just really being there like bam, bam, really doing that. But he definitely got the better of Ryan Garcia there early, and that knockdown just pretty much like changed the course of the rest of the fight. There, man. Topic. What do you have on Devin Miles Haney as his government name is, and what he was doing there against Jose Carlos Ramirez?
I mean, I don't think that fight was as dramatic as what fans wanted to see. You know what I'm saying? I know people wanted to see more bang, 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 but considering the circumstance he was coming back from, like him getting that chin tap a couple times, you feel me? Mentally, I feel like this was him kind of a mental fight for him more than a physical fight. Now, because we seen the spurts where he start touching, and we seen his speed, and we start seeing his jab, and we start seeing the flashes of the offense that he got. So we know that the timing is still there, and it more so for him was a mental thing of like, okay, that stain of getting that chin tap. You know what I'm saying? Of like he can't get that out of his mind. Where that's more so what was holding him back at times. You know what I mean? But I feel like this was a good fight to get him back because this was a good, solid fighter. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
to get him back to, saying, okay, I can do this and whatever like that, and then seeing Ryan lose that, and then seeing Ryan get dropped, you feel me? That might boost him more. Where if they do, because you think the rematch is next with them, even off the loss.
I mean, hey, if we could have,
I mean, the interest is
Manny
still there.
Pacquiao and Eric Morales still have a rematch after Eric Morales lost to Zahir Rahim, you know.
Do that lose some of his draw though? You know what I'm saying? Like both of them, like if they would have just jumped right back into a rematch, it still would have been hot. But like my boys in the group chat, like man, this joint was they a little disappointed. I'm gonna say because like I said, it wasn't as dramatic as what they were expecting. You know what I'm saying? They was
Yeah,
expecting
but
to
I mean,
see.
given the matchups on paper, like it
Right, right,
was
right. For sure,
wide
for sure.
odds for those two fights at the back end there. But given Devin Haney's performance, I was saying there after about like rounds 4 or 5, it was like Devin Haney out here trying to be like Shakur Stevenson or something, and like Shakur Stevenson right there in the audience, and he's probably the like a guy there, Soldier Boy, like he copied my whole fucking flow, word for word, bar for bar. You know what I mean? So that's what it looked like Devin Haney was doing, especially in the first few rounds. Because all you see was him, moving around the ring,
That was that
stepping
mental
back,
part.
doing a half step back and things like that. So, I mean, it kind of like shows that he could, utilize good distance and things like that, but he didn't like incorporate or try to mix in the offense along with that, as far as like, being able to work the jab a little bit more on there. So he was very tentative over the course of those rounds. And, we were talking about the fight there that happened between Ryan Garcia and Rolly Romero, not having that many punches thrown. Same thing here with Devin Haney and Jose
I
Carlos Ramirez.
I'm gonna say this though, right, bro? Right. This is how I want people to view the fighters. Like, imagine this is like your fighter, or say this is your child, and you're putting them out there to fight. You feel what I'm saying? You gonna have a different logic behind the thing. Where like this fight right here, you're not just gonna say go out there and bang, bang, bang with him. You gonna say like go out there and you gonna be more. If it's like your child, imagine like
Right.
the fighter as your child. You're not just gonna tell him to go out there like how a fan gonna say, just go out there and punish him. You gonna be like, yo, like you good? Like you that's how trainers and fighters are. You know what I'm saying? Where the game plan might just be, I heard Bill asking him, like how he feel. You know what I'm saying? He feel strong, like how he so that I can make the game plans around because we know that you just got your 10 tapped and you coming off a shaky performance. So
Mm-hmm.
we're not gonna go out there and set you up because I have the best interest. I have your best interest. Forget what the people saying. Forget Twitter. Cut all that off. We in here fighting now. It's me and you. I'm looking you right in your face right now. Forget all of this. However, we have to get this victory is what we gonna do. Whether that means we gotta, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause each fight gonna be different. Each fight gonna be different. Each fighter
Yeah.
gonna present a different style. Some days you might gotta stand in there toe to toe because, like we was talking on the last joint, somebody might be able to cut off the ring. So Ramirez couldn't cut off the ring to stop Haney from doing what he was doing. So that's a flaw on
Yeah.
Ramirez's game. You feel what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Get in there, stop him, cut the ring off, and push the pace. Then step to Haney. Then step to him, step straight to him. If he running, cut the ring off and make him fight. You feel what I'm saying? Step to
Yeah.
him. But Haney, however, he had to do to go in his bag, pulled out a unanimous clean sweep victory. Like I said, it wasn't as dramatic as what we wanted to see. And I think he'll get better. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, he was coming off a loss for real. You know what I'm saying? Coming off a tough joint.
Mm-hmm.
This is a good shake back fight for him. You feel what I'm saying? So, like I said, you got to imagine it as if it's your child, your son, your daughter, your whoever. You going to be a little more differently as far as like guiding them in the fight. I still thought Haney did good though. You feel me? I still thought
I think he did good enough to win. He just wasn't like impressive. Where it's like Haney showed me, all
for
right,
sure.
I look basically. I think to me it just looked like Haney still in the back of his mind
He
had that like
was.
that that chin getting tapped, and he wasn't trying to have that happen to him again. To the point it was throwing him off to where no, basically the same stuff. Remember when Shakur had the Edwin De Los Santos fight? Devin Haney trolled Shakur for a good week or two about it. It's basically like he went like Source said, he went as Shakur on it real quick. Like, no, I'd rather just not get my chin tapped.
Nah, and you could see like when a fighter is tentative as far as like throwing to land punches, like throwing punches to land, they scared to get hit.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like if they throwing that joint and they stepping with their jab, if he throwing it like if he fading back or he off his back foot, he not trying to get hit. You
No.
feel what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you could tell that was why he was like that because he still had that stain on his brain from what happened. If he was committing like I'm gonna say Ryan. Ryan was stepping with his jab. You know what I'm saying? Ryan was popping Rolly, like stepping and committing with that joint where you could tell, even though he got dropped, we fighting. So I know this come with it.
Mhm.
Haney kind of was like, if
Standing a little.
Ramirez would have pushed the pace and tried to land something, he probably could have dropped Haney. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
he
lie.
could. That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
why I said I
Now,
feel like Haney could have did more because I'm like Ramirez ain't.
mhm.
If Ramirez, I say because how old was Ramirez? 33. I think if Ramirez was the Ramirez probably like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, he might have been like you said. He might have dropped Haney because he would have came forward on Haney like, nah, let's go.
Yeah,
You over here.
you shade below that 33, but you talk about the thing there with Devin Haney. Yes, no contest and all that type of stuff, but everybody knows what happened there
They
on
got it
April
on.
20th of 2024. And the thing about it is, even with him not having that loss on his record, you still had that aura of invincibility taken away from him from that fight.
That
And
sting.
what happened after that fight and how he reacted towards it, going through even before the lawsuit was put up, how he reacted after that decision took place. He just didn't look like he had the confidence level that he had than before going into that bout against Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean? So now it was like, okay, now it's like me being more tender, me moving a lot more, me like getting away from the line, pretty much from the line of my opponent. And on the flip side, yeah, Jose Carlos Ramirez really didn't do a job at all of trying to cut off the ring. I thought, you got Robert Garcia there. Robert Garcia is a well-known, well-notable trainer out there. I would have thought that, we would try to do something at least to try to, get Jose Carlos Ramirez to do elements to try to cut off the ring.
I
But
think though, bro.
he was just following Devin Haney and not like saying, hey, okay, if he's trying to get off to this side, throw something, throw a jab or try to throw a right hook, because it reminded me of the two fights that happened with Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, where I said that Beterbiev pretty much like had Bivol like moving to his right. And I'm like, if you don't throw that right hook to the body to prevent him from getting away from that, from that direction, he's gonna keep doing it.
But
Sort
see,
of.
bro,
Go
I
ahead.
think, I think, I think, I think Ramirez was trying to cut off the ring because there would be times I would see him stepping over. He wasn't like fully chasing where Haney would be. He like pursuing Haney. I would see him stepping over with Haney, but Haney just had good movement where it's like I was watching throwback fight Lara versus Canelo. Arizona Lara versus Canelo. It's the movement that Lara was losing, where Lara might pace this way 3 times and then spin to the right, where he's setting traps with the movement. He's not giving you predictable, like I'm going this way. You know what I'm saying? Some fighters fight in like a sequence where they might go around the ring counterclockwise the whole time. They
Mhm.
might not switch up their rhythm. You know what I'm saying? They might go this way. Haney would offset it where he would, you know what I mean? So Ramirez couldn't really, because Haney had it in his mind that I'm not getting hit. You feel what I'm saying? So his whole
Yeah.
mindset was, however I can avoid getting cracked on is gonna be what it is. Any room I can get, I'm gonna go out that door. Any room, no matter what. You feel me? Ramirez didn't throw no punches to like you say do that, but I still feel like Haney game plan was good enough. His game plan tonight was to survive and to move, and he executed on surviving and moving. It wasn't a war. You know what I'm saying? Tonight wasn't war night. You feel me? Tonight wasn't war night. Tonight was just let's make
Get
it
that,
back home.
get out of there, yeah.
Let's
Get
just
in
make
the
it back
fight
home.
to get the rematch.
Make it home. Let's get it out here. Let's shake back. Okay, I'm good. I can still do this. You know what I'm saying? Prepare for the big one. You feel me? And you see
Yeah.
what happened when Ryan's trying to go out there and get in the war. It ain't go too good.
Tank tried to warn everybody. He told everybody. He said that man. He said that motherfucker Rolly got bricks in his hands. He said that man hit that. He said that's the hardest punch I fought. And if you watch them fights, if Tank didn't have a rock head and a solid chin, some of them hits Rolly did connect. He would have put Tank out. If Tank didn't have that solid head and chin. Because Rolly, remember that fight,
low base, like he had, having a low base too.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all seen Tank's face after that fight. I remember Tank had that big old knot on the side of his head.
He did. I mean, I was that night, that night out there at the Barclays was crazy, yo. But yeah, he did have that night.
A fight that I think if Jose Ramirez had the skill level, he should have took notes from like what Virgil Ortiz did with Israel Madrimov. How Israel Madrimov wanted to keep moving around. And I kept watching like, Virgil, you might got to get him a good old liver shot to make him be like, all right, I can't breathe that long. And
that's the thing with Virgil. Virgil, he'll stay active with his hands. He'll pop the jab. He'll throw that body shot. He'll like be like, oh, you want to move there? Okay, let me prevent you from doing that. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're trying to get up there? Boom. He'll throw that jab. So you got
you know how to cut it off. Every fighter don't know how to affect. There's different ways to do. What they say is different ways to skin a cat. You know what I'm saying? Just because this one way didn't work, you might gotta. Some days it might be stepping over to cut them off, or it might be feinting to apply pressure, or it might be it's certain different things you could do to, you know what I mean, like be offense or defense. Feints could be a strong. You feel me? Him feinting will make Haney react, where then he can start to counter, or you know what I mean. It's just certain things that Ramirez wasn't doing. Which I gotta say, Haney, you feel me? And then, like I say, Haney, I'm probably say round 9, start shaking out a little bit, where you start putting,
he did round 9.
start putting his punches together. You start seeing his jab, and you start seeing him running his numbers a little bit, and start. I said, okay, there we go. This is the momentum I want coming into my next camp right here. This is how we finish it strong. Because when he go to sleep, he gonna feel good about his performance tonight. You know what I'm saying? He gonna be out of his head a little bit. He gonna feel. Once he go to bed, he gonna have all that noise that he had all the way up into here, all that was swirling. He gonna put mute on now. It's gonna like he be putting headphones on where he good. Ryan just lost. He just seen Ryan get embarrassed. This was y'all favorite guy. This and that, and I just did a good. You feel me? 12 rounds, right back against a solid guy. So I wouldn't mind seeing. I mean, the rematch is cool, but I don't know if I want to see it right now. I want to see
2 rematches he need now.
That's gonna be the thing is how the folks are gonna really react to what happened here today, and if they're gonna still demand a rematch between Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia.
Ryan gotta give me a big win next, or a decent win. He gotta give me a good performance to get me back excited. Because his last 2 performances, y'all been mid for real. Like I say, the Haney performance I wasn't really geeked about for real. This joint to me was, you know what I mean? I ain't seen a full. For me personally, I haven't seen nothing that's gonna get me excited. Like he got spurts, he could land a good left hook, but if you on or you got just as much time in, you know what I'm saying? I don't see Ryan now. Tio, somebody like that. That's to me who stole the show tonight.
Yeah, he
Tio.
did. He ran. He did it. Barboza might have won 2 rounds tonight at most.
That was a clean fight. That's what everybody wanted to see.
Versus Rio. That's what that was. When Gary Antoine put a beating on Rio back in March.
Yeah, and this was one where it was another one of those examples of Tio getting up for the moment. Given that Barbosa's undefeated, was there as a top ranked contender in the WBO rankings. Those were easily the closest odds of the fights that were on for tonight, and Teofimo was just like feeling great over the course of fight week, and we pretty much showed there in this one, and in another instance of a fighter that really couldn't cut off the ring, and Barbosa couldn't do that, and Teofimo was just like, hey, okay, I could, I'm faster than you. Oh, I got a little bit more pop than you. Oh, I
right.
I can do anything I want, and so that was just him controlling everything there from start to finish, because he knew that he could, do anything he wanted against Arnold Barbosa Jr. in that. And shout out to Alkeebalon there, man. Said, yeah, Teal looked extremely impressive, very sharp, and Barbosa was too robotic. Yeah, very robotic here in this bout against Teofimo Lopez over there, and really
Tio's
didn't do much of nothing.
Tio speed from the opening bell, I seen that immediately. I said, nah, Tio on tonight. Immediately I seen it. Like the way he just was landing his jab and he was reactive to whatever Barboza was doing. It's like he mentally was in tune. I said, nah, he gonna win tonight. Start touching up and down with the jab. I said, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Once he start getting that rhythm with the up and down, that's gonna open everything else up. You know what I'm saying? Because now
Mm-hmm.
Tio got the bag with him where he could start to land his ups. And then once Tio start touching, that's when he start getting his swag and his rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Tio start getting, and once he in his rhythm, Tio dangerous because Tio do got speed. He do got the crack. He do got good defense. You know what I'm saying? Tio a slick fighter too. So
Mm-hmm.
like if they wanted to thump, Tio could have stood there and thumped with him. You feel what I'm saying? But Tio boxed him real clean, out speed, up and down. Tio gave me everything I wanted to see. Really, it's a fight, so he might have got touched, but hey, that's what come with this business. You feel what I'm saying? It wasn't too much that I could really be too critical of Tio's performance. Of
Yeah,
course, maybe,
that was just the ass whooping.
huh?
Look, that's why I said I can't really be too critical of T.O. tonight. He just like I compared it to the Gary Antoine fight back in March. He just from bell opening bell to the end just he showed his hand
He was
speed.
turned on.
Yeah. He showed he would have sat in the pocket in the phone booth if it got to that. T.O. yeah. T.O. versus Boots sounds interesting now.
Yeah,
I
for
just had
sure, for
all
sure.
Ryan's fans that tried to tell me in my DMs, tried to argue with me on lives and everything. Man, Ryan for Boots. I just want them to keep Boots' name out their mouth. I want Ryan to go bounce back, get in the gym. But I would definitely be open to seeing a T.O. versus Boots. That's something interesting right there.
Well, I mean, it was kind of teased that last year, but Tio, I don't know what Tio was on at that particular point. I guess it just eventually got to this juncture here where he was able to be in this fight against Arnold Barbosa
Trying to get
Jr.
up out of top rank.
Yeah, that's the thing though. Is he gonna try to get out of the top rank? How are they gonna handle him from this particular point? So I'd be interested to see what happens here next. I would have to, we have to speak with those representatives of top rank to see, what they're going to do with them if they still, have options on them or not. So I'd be
What's
interested to see what happens with them. I want to see if they move forward with what happens with Brian Norman Jr. after his fight against Jin Sasaki. If Brian Norman Jr. is going to go for unification with Boots, but if not, then why not just try to have that fight between Brian Norman and Teofimo again?
you said Brian Norman and Tio?
Yeah.
Do Brian Norman them want those fights? They might kind of be on that picking a fighters path. You know what I'm saying? Like them guys
I mean,
say they
hey,
want
that
things
was
to
another
build
fight
it.
that was offered to Tio last year, but maybe they'll revisit it.
I feel like if Turkey involved, Turkey will get these fights because he gonna pay these guys.
Yeah, that's
He
the
gonna
thing.
take all of them excuses right there out. You know that outpricing when they don't want to fight each other, like
Yeah.
Norman and Boots. Okay, you want 2-5?
I give you 3. He gonna say I
Let's
give
get
you
it.
3. Now what's
Come
your
on.
excuse?
Now, yeah, come on, come on. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna do no stalling.
He
Come on,
gonna
let's
tell
get it.
you ain't gotta take less than Brian Norman. You the champ, you the bigger A side with popularity. I give you 5. What's the excuse now? You only wanted 2.5. I gave you an extra 500K. Boots, I made sure you good. Eddie, you and Eddie can handle whatever you got, but you still gonna be good after you and Eddie. What's the excuse? My only thing with Turkey, I think Turkey need him and Tank. They both Muslims. They need to sit down and talk. Because when I watch the Turkey card, these cards, it be some good fights. But you know how them cards, it be like the crowd. It don't be no excitement in the crowd. It be like
Mhm.
I'm at like a rich people's gallery banquet where everybody
Yeah.
like, would you want some champagne? You want some wine?
Would
I'd
you
be like,
want some
no.
caviar? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Some
It'd be
grapefruit
like,
ball or some shit. You know what I mean?
it's too formal. Like tonight, the fights, I'm like, that arena, I mean, the way they set it up looked good, but I'm like, the crowd looked like it's too formal. Like, it was no energy. Like, him and Tank need to, because at a Tank fight, the crowd would have been in there, people would have been talking shit to each other. Like, well, bet that then. You think he gonna bet? It would have been some like energy, make you feel like you had an American boxing a sport event.
Yeah, for sure. You know,
They gotta put them to see them joints be in Saudi. You know what I'm saying? Where it's out the way, they gotta bring it more like at a Capital One arena or something that where people could actually get there. Like this joint was like I was telling bruh, a private public event
Yeah,
where it's enclosed. So it's
yeah,
only whoever got it's outside.
invite.
So they say
Yeah,
public because it's outside, but it's gated in. You can't see in there, and it's only reserved by tickets. So it's not really public like they which
it's
makes sense
public
too
because
though.
it's outside in the open, and
you know,
people can sit there. If you in Times Square, that big screen in the middle of Times Square, you can watch it on there. But it's not public because you have to have been credentialed to be there. As far as you had to be in the end, basically, you had to be either be a fighter, a top fighter in their family, or you had to be somebody associated with the event to be there.
But that
yeah.
makes sense too though, because if you really think about it, like where that fight was.
Oh yeah, if they had made it open to the public, some shit would have happened.
It's a big
Now,
possibility, and so I
You
ain't
know,
mad at it for the first
that
for
it would have been in the middle of New York. People would have been acting a fool. So I
throwing
understand.
bottles in the ring, or
yeah,
somebody would have been trying to shoot a TikTok. But watch this, I'm gonna hit Ryan Garcia in the head from here with a something crazy. You know what I'm saying? Something crazy.
some
So
wild
I'm
like
not
that.
mad for the first time.
Now I'm not mad at Turkey. I just said I feel like I would love to see Turkey and Tank do something, because then I feel like if he could do it in America and you can get a real American sport event feel from
You gotta be
watching
at
one.
an arena out
Yeah,
here.
Yeah, it gotta
and
be
he
an
got to do
arena.
something
I
in like
mean,
Vegas at the
they,
MGM, down in Miami at the Dolphin Stadium, out
well,
here
it
at the
had to be like
Capitol.
I would say outdoor type thing. You know what I mean? Like how they did in Los Angeles. You
Yeah,
know
all right.
that was at the soccer stadium in Los Angeles. You know, out there. What is that? BMO Stadium is a few blocks down from
They
what
could
is
go to
it?
the Rose Bowl out in Cali and do it.
Coliseum in Los Angeles. So maybe have something in. Like I mean, rumor if they're gonna have Canelo versus Crawford, like if you want to try to have it at Allegiant Stadium, do something like that. You know what I mean? If you have the thing there with Heyman Boxing and PBC that has their events at AT&T Stadium or something like that, then why not go ahead and have a similar thing there? Like what is that? Like MetLife Stadium out there outside of New York City or something?
Yeah, MetLife
Maybe
for the
try that.
Giants Jets play.
You know, and given that Turkey is eventually gonna start the thing there with Dana White there and have their like TKO boxing league or whatever they want to name it, they're gonna have some of those events maybe have that type of idea of having big events that involve stadiums like that. You know what I mean? So you pretty much like have that there. But yeah, T.O., great performance by him. Really interested to see what's going to be next for him.
Who would you like to
Because
see him fight next?
good
Give me
question.
three. Give me three fights. If no budget, three fights. Like as if we talking off camera. Three
For
fights.
oh, okay. For Teofimo
We're gonna
Lopez,
talk
three
real.
fights. Three fights. Brian Norman Jr., Jerome Bootsenis. Actually, I'll give four because I have an extra one. Brian Norman Jr., Bootsenis. That'd be a 147. At 140, Gary Antoine
I knew
Russell.
you was gonna say it, bro. I knew you was gonna
And
say it.
actually, not quite at 140 because he ain't gonna be at 140 no more. But Devin Haney. Those were four fights.
That's actually ain't a bad 4-fight list.
Given like some comments from other folks as far as like the performances that we've seen here recently. Shout out to Stephen Breadman Edwards. Like he said, like after the performance by Gary Antoine Russell, that you have Teofimo Lopez and Gary Antoine Russell at like 1A and 1B. So those are pretty much who they say is like the top two guys at 140 at this point. But we got to see what happens here coming up with Alberto Puello, as he could be in the ring there against Subriel Matias on July 12th. That's another thing there that we're looking at. shout out to Secret Dance Move in the building. He says that like Rolly, they looked, they're at 147. You know what I mean? So I think he kind of like was pretty much solid at that particular weight or around the weight that they were at. For that bout. Yeah, it says Tio was the best performer on the night by a long thing. Number of it, like I said, I was really impressed by what Rolly was able to do. Stay patient and there in the pocket and doing a number of things there. Over the course of the fight there with Ryan Garcia, and let's talk about it with YSM. While the fight was happening, the thing what Rolly was doing right was with his lead hand, he was actually parrying Ryan Garcia. Because Ryan Garcia would have his hand up, it would almost be like he would have his hand up to about to throw the jab, but Rolly would have his hand out, so it would prevent, Ryan from actually throwing the jab, and then with the left hook, it was still like he was wide with the left hook, so it would go out and then around with Ryan Garcia. You know what I mean? So it made it like more predictable, more telegraphed. So
some of it though, bro, I still feel like this fight really showed that both of them guys to me are like, I don't want to say average, but not the most skilled. You know what I'm saying? Because there would be times that I would see Ryan feint Rolly, you know what I mean? And Rolly would like pull back real hard, straight back. Where in boxing, you don't pull straight back on the line. You know what I'm saying? So there's things that I was seeing that Ryan just wasn't capitalizing off it because of his flaws. You know what I'm saying? Like he was good, but then it'd be like I say, he would feint Rolly and Rolly would just pull back like this, where that's where you come with that 1-2. Because once he pulled back, he gonna come forward and that 2 gonna be there. That's why you don't pull on the line. Rolly wasn't like the most
and
Ryan
there were
just wasn't
instances where like Rolly would have his left hand
bag.
Where I was like saying Ryan could have like a lead right and just shoot a lead right, and it would be right there for him because like Rolly would have that left hand now, almost like it wasn't even like a shell type thing or like roll, but Rolly does a little bit of a roll. So
that's the Rolly shell.
Yeah, Rolly shell, but he still has like that whole side open. So if you're a guy that's a quick twitch fighter, then shoot the lead right. It's right there for you, and you didn't see that there, for Ryan Garcia. And also on the flip side, early in the fight, you seen Ryan Garcia react a lot to the face of Rolly Romero.
After he got knocked down, he was like, he got timid. He just was like, oh. I mean, I'm gonna say this, right? When me and Coach Kenny did an interview and we had talked about it after the interview, Coach Kenny said one thing about Ryan. I don't know if it's his right arm, his right side of his body is disabled when he fights, but he never uses his right side. It's everything with the left, and he gonna take that left hook with him no matter where he go. That's his bread and butter, his left hook. And so to answer that guy first question, he didn't use his right hand. If you really watch Ryan, you watch the fight against Tank, the fight against Devin, and you can go back when they upload this fight up and you go watch the study, you'll see that he's not ever been one. It's like his right, Coach Kenny said it's like his right side of his body be disabled.
Yeah, and that's not a good look for a fighter in Ryan Garcia who's quick twitch, but he's flat-footed.
Yeah.
With him being flat-footed, that really gives you opportunities to set up traps and catch him, because it's not like he doesn't really like move his head around either. So he's right there for you.
That's why I say these like I don't want to say average, but like, you feel me? I see all the flaws where
I'm gonna say
people forget.
What's a good word for it?
People forget all of the.
He's a mop.
Like once he fought Tank, it's like people just put him automatically. People was calling him a YouTube boxer, right?
Yeah,
he fought Tank, and then people just automatically, he jumped from that to hating. People that put him in it, like, bro, when did he get good? Yeah. One of these fights did I see him? He lost to Haney. Lost to Tank, got stopped.
Okay,
looked subpar against Haney. When all of a sudden did he become Boots? That y'all,
you know what I mean? One thing about it, I know how to sell a fighter. Oscar sold him. You can
Yeah,
say
I
whatever
can
you
sold
want to
him,
say
but
about Oscar. He know how to sell a fighter.
to me, the fight that showed like okay, he's not really up there was when he fought Tego.
Yeah,
Tego is there like what is he like? Well, they say he's listed at 5'8", but he felt like looked like he was 5'6" against Ryan Garcia. And I would have thought like Ryan Garcia would be able to just, overwhelm Tego. And yeah, he got a clear decision win over Tego, but still like Tego isn't, at least to me, if you're like a guy that has this ability or you had this amateur background and you fought all of these guys in the
There's
amateurs,
levels to this.
exactly, there's levels. And you're supposed to be on a completely different level than Emmanuel Tego. That, yeah, if you can get a clear decision win, cool. But if you want to be like there as far as like being described as they say the so-called four kings as they tried to build it up as during that during that time period, then you should be able to like smoke Emmanuel Tego or somebody like that. Just being honest.
And Ryan, like I say, he's a decent fighter, stylistic. Like he's not a fighter. Like there's some fighters I'm gonna say like Boots, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you could put him in there against any of these guys and he
you
can
feel comfortable betting with him.
adapt.
Yeah.
Some guys like Ryan, you can match him. Like I could probably find some guys on the top 20 that I know that's not notable names that could beat him just because of his style, his one dimensionness. Like once he got dropped, I knew instantly. I said, "Oh nah, he gonna get away from his jab. He gonna come out and start looking to land his left hook." I said he gonna get away from everything else that he was doing that Derek James and them was trying to instill. Now he on get back time. He on, and that's his I'm gonna hurt you punch.
Mm-hmm.
He not disciplined mentally to say, you know what? Let me stick to what Derek was saying and get back
And
out here
Derek
and
was telling
touch.
him some good stuff too. Like
For
whenever
sure.
they were going on it, Derek was telling him some good shit. I'm like, and when it got to like round 9 or 10, I said, Derek gotta just be real with Ryan, which he did, but I said Derek gotta be blunt. Tell him go for broke, Ryan. You gotta let your hands go and just go for broke.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened at this point happened. You already been knocked down. So if you get knocked down again, at least you get knocked down trying to knock him
Trying
down
to
because
do so.
you got timid.
Yeah, and you could have, and I've seen like a couple of times there where I feel like Ryan was aggressive with the jab as far as like being more have more emphasis behind it and try to step forward a little bit with it,
He got
But
that speed. He got
Yeah,
speed on that joint.
is a
yeah,
mother. He
He
got
got
the
some
raw
snap.
talent. That's what I'm like, dog. Why does it's like he just get? That's why I say I agree with you, bro. When you said he's a YouTube boxer, because it's like whenever he gets put in a hectic position, it's like he just goes for that one thing. The left hook was like in a street fight where it's like you just gonna go for whatever comes to your mind first, and that's not boxing. And it just be like I be looking like Ryan, like you got the speed, you got the size, you got the length. It's like he has the raw talent to be up there to be, except with like if you mention him, say you could be in the top 20, he has that raw talent where you can say, I could probably put you in there with the 15. But it's like when you watch him fight, it's like what you just said. If you give me the top 20 to 25 list, I could probably get some non-notable names to say, nah, he'll beat you, Ryan. Because it's like he don't have the mental to go with the raw ability he has.
mm.
He
All
ain't
right.
fully.
So I
Hey,
was
do you
trying to
think too? I'm gonna
go
say,
ahead.
fellas, do Derek James and him still continue to work after this fight? You think?
I don't know, but I hope so because Derek was not the problem tonight. Every time they put the camera in that corner, everything Derek was saying to him is shit I was saying watching the fight, and shit that I was seeing people say on social media sites. I'm like, Derek
Mm.
giving him the same thing
Oh,
we all seeing.
I don't know why I did this thing just here, but I just recently like forgot right there real quick. With this being a fight that was for the WBA regular welterweight title, that means both of these fighters, pretty much campaigning there in the welterweight division. So when you topic you're talking about, 10, 20 fighters there, you would have to look at the welterweight division. And y'all know who's the champions there. We have like a couple of fighters that are, contenders there, like an Alexis Rocha or a Karen Chikazian or
I
Sakin
seen
Gill.
Kenneth Sims Jr. up there 47 now. Ryan Garcia versus Kenneth Sims Jr. next. I like
I got
that fight.
Kenneth Sims
Okay.
Jr.
I like that fight next.
Oh
And
yeah,
they in the
you gonna
WBA
put
too,
that? Hey,
right?
Kenneth Sims is there still with Golden Boy, right?
Yep.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, so there you go.
And
No
he
doubt.
he
That
in
was
the
good stuff.
WBA rankings, I want to say. So
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. He's Cleveland says he was Ryan Garcia was demoralized once he felt Rolly's power. It was over mentally. Hey,
Yeah, he definitely showed that tonight.
shout out to my brother there, Joe Heron there of War Week Boxing in the building, man. What's going on with your secret dance move here? Says Ryan looked too passive. You should go get drinking and take it. Oh God, man. Hey, Joe says they proves controversial PED take. American fighters who are on it are afraid to get hit and don't let their hands go. Yeah. Hey, shout out to when he says Dante says Ryan gotta stop dropping the right hand. Which we just saying that, you know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know what would be next here for Ryan Garcia, unless if they off that
Good
rematch.
fight. Sims Jr. versus Ryan. They both got 2 losses. They both under Golden Boy. They in the same sanctioning body. I would take Kenneth Sims if I had to pick one, just because I think he has mentally, he has more mental than Ryan, which a lot of boxers we can see. This is the third fight we can see have a better mental than Ryan. But I think Kenneth Sims knows how to use what he got a little better than what Ryan knows how to use what he got.
And they can have it over at Anaheim. I think Ryan has had a couple fights there over at the Honda Center in Anaheim, if I'm not mistaken. So
I don't think Kenny Sims
go
gonna
ahead
care
and have
where
it.
it's at. He
Well,
don't care. He probably just want to get it on.
Who?
Yeah, Kenny.
I said Kenny Sims probably ain't gonna care where they put it at. Just
Oh
let me know where to show up.
yeah. Word. Yeah, word.
Let's get it
Yeah,
popping.
man. It said they still think they can make the Haney versus Garcia rematch next before Garcia picks up another loss and retires for good.
And that's
Hey,
possible though. I thought Rolly, like I was looking at Rolly's face coming in when he was in that car. I said, Rolly don't look like he want to box no more. I'm like,
Yeah,
Rolly face look.
before the fight, and he said the same thing after the fight. He said, "Man, I just want to go in here and beat Ryan's ass. Him and Devin can kiss and make up, do whatever they want to do afterwards. I just want to beat his ass." Then after the fight, he said, "Man, no, I think Ryan and Devin should still go on with the rematch. I don't care." Rolly just out there fighting because he contractually signed to Leonard Ellaby and PBC, so he owed them they fights. That's all fighting.
Man, shout out to my guy YSM, Jamila YSM, man, because you had the thing there with them, getting to the ring and stuff like that. You know how they were getting in there with the vehicles, the cars, and stuff like that, and how for Ryan Garcia, he was rolling there in the Batmobile. Man, he should. YSM was like, man, that wasn't like Batman. He should have been in the Batmobile. He should have been in the Baitmobile, like Baitman in them commercials. You know what I'm saying? You can't claim Batman. You should be claiming Baitman in that joint, man.
I didn't care for some of the. I like the concept of the whole outside town square thing, but some of the stuff, like I'm gonna say, like put myself internally as if I was a fighter and training all of that. I didn't really care for like the whole hopping in a cab and rolling down,
Yeah, I
and
didn't care for all that either.
some of that's like a mental prep moment where like backstage, those guys kind of like before they hit that crowd, they kind of, what I mean, like they just shake out. I don't know, it's just more distractions. I felt like that take them. You riding downtown, the middle of the street, looking at, bro, you about to go out here, somebody trying to kill you.
That's
what I'm saying.
That's why
you
I
distracted.
Said that's why I said I like Turkey's ideas for it, but it's still like certain things. Because this is like you just said, bro. This is a violent sport. With one hit, you down. All that extra making it seem like it's like a mini movie before the fight. I don't need to see all that.
You hopping out the car, jumping out. Say you get out, twist your ankle. You know what I'm saying? Just a bunch of stuff that could go wrong.
Yeah, because
that could go wrong.
Just let my fight.
When they had Jose Carlos Ramirez, when he was in there with that SUV or something like that, he had a good little step to get down, man. So he had to have that security.
Well, Ramirez, right?
Yeah,
with that big pickup truck.
Man. Yeah, I was like, damn, boy. Hey.
It's stuff like that, bro. I'm just like, and then say if it just happened to start raining or something, you know what I'm saying? Or because I was in Florida when Floyd fought.
What happened too?
And it started raining when Floyd fought was it Logan Paul down there. All these people had ringside seats. It started raining, everybody had to get up and run. You know what I'm saying? Like just certain things, I'm like, I like the concept, but you gotta plan it maybe a little longer to make sure everything's good.
My God, Joe said that Haney looked as nervous as a toothache kid. He says he'd rather see Devin Haney versus Rolly Romero at this point. Hey, I mean that's another
my man, me and him was watching it and he was talking about shit, that would be a good fight. But Devin, if he still got that shit in the back of his head where his trigger, he's scared to pull his trigger finger, Rolly ain't the one he want to fight then, because Rolly will keep coming and being aggressive. And like we all say, I said this about Deontay Wilder. In my opinion, Deontay Wilder was not that great of a boxer. He was a good fighter, but he wasn't a great boxer. But what carried him for all them fights was he's strong as an ox. And I don't care how technically sound you are, your IQ, nothing. You can't teach or beat strength. If someone is strong as an ox, lands a clean punch on you, which Deontay Wilder used to do all the time, you're going out. And that's what Rolly is. He's strong as hell. And if he can get a clean hit on you, i.e. tonight against Ryan, you going down to that canvas. If Devin is still like in the back of his mind that, oh man, I've been touched before and take that canvas. Rolly messed around and Rolly a KO Devin, and that's where I was going at. He just basically cut me off. Rolly a mess around and send Devin ass to that canvas like Ryan did, except Rolly ain't gonna test for no PEDs.
Yeah, worse.
I think Haney, a turned on Haney will outbox Rolly.
He gonna have to because he ain't gonna be sitting there doing what he did with Ryan and Haney or the Rolly.
Or the thing there with Jose Ramirez, secret dance move here says reference to the C, not the Times Square thing didn't work at all. There was no connection between those fights in Times Square because there was no crowd. Well,
right.
I mean, the thing that they had it was,
Go ahead.
It was like weird because it was set up like how they had the New Year's Rockin' Eve and all that type of stuff there, for New Year's Eve and whatnot. So it was almost like they had the thing like blocked off on a certain like perimeter. And so you had like a crowd that was like at a certain point that were like a block or two from where the actual ring was. So they were like looking at the fights from a distance as far as like the monitors and stuff like that. But that type of scene as far as like having a crowd out there that was by the fighters or the hotels when they were like getting in the vehicles and stuff, or whatever they had, it was an interesting scene, so to speak. So that's why I'm kind of curious as how they're going to try to pull off July 12th. They're going to be out there in Central Park. That's a little bit north of Times Square right there. So
I think they got a better idea now of how to, which is like your first of anything gonna be iffy.
PBC Rolly no, because they, like I said, it's all but locked in. Mario Barrios versus Manufacturer.
He said no.
That's all but locked in. And why would they have a WBA regular champion in Rolando Romero against the full WBC champion?
Yeah, slow down with they putting Rolly in these big old fights. Like, no, he got the Ryan because Styles make fights and power, like I said, carries. I don't give a shit how technically sound, none of that. But let's not as boxing fans get all carried away, start throwing Rolly's name in these big old but no, let's not do that. Let's not do that. That's
I mean, like I was mentioning there, with him being a regular champion, we got to see like how the WBA is going to handle things. Given what YSM has been saying, like Boots is really locked in and trying to be undisputed or try to see if he could pull off undisputed. But it really is contingent on what happens in July 19th is when Norman versus Sasaki is supposed to be. So no, June 19th. My bad. June 19th for Norman versus Saki, and then you're gonna have whenever they schedule Barrios versus Pacquiao. So I guess he would have to wait until after June 19th to see what would be the next move. You know what I mean? So there's that. But that's mainly what happens. What happened here today. You got of course fights tomorrow and Sunday. Canelo versus William School. You got Bruno Strachey and Jaime Munguia rematch. You got Badu Jack versus Noel McCallan. You got what is it? Robert Coley versus Efe Jagba. That's the fight that I'm waiting on, man. Hey, that's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a fight. That's gonna be.
I got Bacoli getting busy, man.
Yeah, he mad about how he got thrown to the wolves with a 1-day prep for his last fight. So I think he might get busy this time that he got a whole camp. He got to get some pre-camp, getting his body ready, then do an actual camp to get his body in fight shape. I think Bacoli might get busy.
He a dog though. Bacoli got that crack.
Yeah,
And
and the
the
thing
chin
with
for real.
FA is like he only has like the right hand mainly, and he nearly lost to what was it, Guido Vianello in his last bout, and we seen what happened with Guido in his
Who,
fight over in Las
Bacol?
Vegas. Oh, what was that?
Who you said Guido and who fought that? Bacol?
No, Efe Jagba. Yeah.
Oh.
And so when Guido Vianello fought Richard Torres here earlier this year, and Torres cleanly beat Guido. Fa, if you ain't got something to hurt Bacoli here early,
you see what happened to Big Baby.
Mm-hmm. Good luck, my dude. Good luck.
It'd be an early fight.
Yeah. So hey. It's gonna be a big, really big fight for Efe Jagba because if he gets the win, he's like right in the mix as far as like a serious contender out there. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, do y'all see if Crawford and them and Canelo fight? How y'all see that fight going?
I got Canelo, bro. That's a big jump, man. I'm gonna be honest. I think Crawford can go skill with him, but that's a lot of weight. He had one fight at 154, right? And it wasn't his best looking fight, albeit it was his first fight, but that was his only fight there. Now he's so basically we just gonna be saying he's jumping from 147 all the way to 168. To fight a guy that, albeit is naturally should be probably fighting middleweight at 160, but still has been fighting at 168 for how many years? What, like 6 years now? He's been fighting at 168. You jumping up there to fight the top dog. Now, I'm also like what a lot of these fans say. If anybody's in the sport right now that's in the same size as Canelo or a little bit smaller that could possibly do it, I'll say it's Boots. I mean, not Boots, but Bud. But I'm saying, no, I can't. Because even though I think Bud gonna go a little harder than Charlo did, Charlo felt one of them punches and respected his power way too much to the point where all he wanted to do was survive the fight. I think Bud's gonna be like, no, I'll take one of your punches to give you a punch. But my thing is what's gonna happen when he takes one of them punches.
Right.
I was leaning towards Canelo for a good amount of time. But then on February 14th, I pretty much like shifted over and changed my decision.
Why is that?
I feel like with Crawford, it's more of like something that he wants to prove. I think it's the same way that he kind of approached this fight against Errol Spence Jr. Even though with the Errol Spence fight, he was favored to win, it was still given that it had that big atmosphere. It was for undisputed at welterweight. Errol Spence was there as one of those top guys, pound for pound, alongside with Terrence Crawford. But it was more about Terrence Crawford like showing the world, in a sense, how good he really is. That's what he wanted to do at that point, right? And here he gets another opportunity to do it. Here he is, Terrence Crawford, going up multiple divisions, a little bit older, but has a little less tread on the tires in comparison to Santoso Alvarez Barragan, right? And from a tail of the tape perspective, even though Canelo has had a lot of experience with a lot of taller fighters, a lot of guys with with the reach, Terrence has that height and the reach there. So he's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna test the waters here a little bit early against Canelo. And if he approaches this fight kind of similar to what he did against Errol Spence, in that if he could land his jab above Canelo's jab, that's gonna pretty much show what the rest of the fight's gonna be. Because then he's gonna be able to take more or be more comfortable in what he wants to do in his game plan against Canelo Alvarez, even with the size of Canelo. He's the thing with Terrence Crawford is he's a strong, stout fighter that's been used to fighting or working with bigger guys over the course of his professional career. His, as they say, his right hand man is Stephen Nelson, who's been a career fighter there at 168 pounds. He's also been working around who is it, Lester Martinez, of course, who's up and rising there in the 168-pound rankings. So he is like driven and determined to be in that big stage once again and to prove people wrong here in this instance. So that's why I'm like, I feel like it's something that Crawford could be able to pull off. And more, and also too, Canelo, the way that he moves, he's more of like a sit in the pocket, catch and counter type of fighter. So, as I said earlier, if you have that reach and you say, hey, if I'm able to get that jab and get it around Canelo's jab early, then I could do more stuff here later on in the fight. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to be more susceptible to him attempting the counters, but I'm going to be right back with him. And I think that's the thing that Crawford is going to do.
I think Crawford. I think his best chance is to box Canelo for the first half of the fight to bank those rounds. Because Canelo do just like be losing rounds. You know what I'm saying? Like he starts slow and he tries to Canelo method when he fights is to break you down. Or he might target a specific body part. You know what I'm saying? Where he might try to land the left to the body, and that's gonna be the punch where he'll put it right there on that hip. Where as the rounds go on, the power he putting on it is gonna start to slow you down from being able to move as quick because it's starting to sit in. Or he'll punch your shoulder. Where now it's certain things he like certain spots he gonna target. Where also I say if Bud banked around and tries to box him early and say, you know what, I done stole 5, 6 rounds off of him. Now we can start fighting. And once I know I got at least a decent portion of the scorecards, you know what I'm saying? Then maybe. 'Cause I think Bud would get up for this kind of fight. You know what I mean? Like when people tell Bud no or he can't, that's when Bud get like more like the Earl
Yeah.
Spence train, I'ma say. Bro, when I was out there in Vegas for that joint, bro. When I say we went to the weigh-in, everybody and they mom, I'm gonna say it was probably a 75-25 crowd for Spence.
Oh yeah, I know. I used to argue with a bunch of dudes, and I told them I had made a video. I was like, "It's gonna be Bud." You know how many people kept telling me, "Spence, Spence, Spence." I said, "Bro, Bud is it's gonna be bad." I said it too at the time. I said it's gonna be stopped by the 10th round, no farther. And what do you know? The 9th round it was. I had people tell me, I said, "Bud, bro," I said, "You might have been." I said it even before the accident. I said Spence might have not lost as bad, but I still had Bud. I think he would have went the whole 12 if he didn't have an accident, but he still lost. I said the accident, it messed up his reaction. I said he's going down before the 10th round even start.
I thought though, I ain't gonna lie, I thought that fight was gonna be more like the build-up that surrounded that fight. Like that was one of the I don't want to say non-interesting. It was like one of the most like this is one-sided. You know what I'm saying? Like this joint ain't even no pushback. Like Spence, he get he the type of fighter that, like I say, rises. He uses that for energy. So somebody probably going against him with Canelo, he gonna fight Canelo. You know what I'm saying? He gonna probably be more smarter to know I'm not just gonna stand there and try to bang
Mm-hmm.
with him. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
like he can fight with him. You know what I'm saying? Like Bud, forget boxing. He'll stand there. He can scrap. You know what I mean? Now I don't
Right.
want to say Bud standing there for all 12 rounds and go
Oh,
toe to toe, but touch his chin too.
but
You know
he'll
what I
have that
mean? It might
mentality.
not knock him
If
out,
need be,
but
he'll have
make
that
him feel
mentality.
something.
Yeah.
Make him feel you. Get in there,
You know.
Bud. Bud ain't sweet. You feel me? He ain't got none of that. Yeah, he ain't one of them.
Right. He's a competitor. He's always been a competitor. That's the thing about him, and that's why he's like, you know what? I feel like this is a challenge here that he wants to go ahead and go forward with and continue to see if he'll be able to get through this. Now I got another guest on here that's going to be catching up with us and talk about what's going down. Was on his channel here, during the fights that went down here earlier today. Shout out to my guy YSM Sports Media in the building, man. What's happening?
Was good. Talk to me.
What up? So talk about the whole joints, man. I mean, hey, we saw of course we were watching there with Rolly getting the win and everything like that. And and he was able to do his due. T.O. was probably the most impressive fighter out there, I guess.
Hey, bro, you was in Puerto Rico?
Huh?
Was you in Puerto Rico for the Super Real fight
Yeah.
and Paro?
Yeah, I was there.
Okay, I remember my man. Okay, what's up, bro?
It was good. See, you know why you remember me, JR? Because it was like me and him were like the only black people there. So
Nah,
you did do
he
you
ain't
did
lying
do it
though,
with a
bro.
beard. You
Dead
like,
serious.
yeah.
Dead serious, bro. He ain't lying, bro.
Yeah, man.
But
Yeah.
I can't even say that T.O. was the most impressive because bro, we didn't expect Rolly neutralized Ryan. And
Oh
sat him
yeah,
down.
pretty much. That's how I was saying here before the end. Because I was talking about, with Rolly's lead left, he was parrying the hand of Ryan
Yeah.
Garcia, preventing Ryan Garcia with throwing the left anything, the left hook, the left jab, any of that. So with him doing that, he could like parry and he could go to the body. He could throw left to the body. He could throw combinations. It was just that he nullified the activity there, Ryan Garcia, by parrying that left hand of his.
First, let me say salute to Rolly, but salute to Ismail Salas. Bro, that was a great game plan. And they didn't even bring him up at all. Like,
Yeah.
that was a great game plan. Like, yo, the dudes look different off that pack. I'm just going to say that. Dudes look different off that Captain American Super Soldier serum. They look
Tupac
different.
Shakur. We were saying the Tupac Shakur, yo.
Oh, man. Yo, he got thoroughly outboxed by Rolando Romero.
That's the crazy, hey, man. Everybody was clowning Tank about the whole Rolly shit, but that Rolly fight then got a lot better on his resume now.
Yo, but Tank's when they asked Tank who punched harder, he said Rolly.
He said that man's hands felt like a bag of bricks punching me.
Yeah, you saw Ryan's bro. After Ryan got hit with that shit, he didn't let that right hand go.
His right side of his body was like it was disabled.
Man. Oh shoot, man! I had to
did Ryan? I'm gonna say this: Did Rolly do more, or did Ryan not do enough? If that makes sense.
After that second round knockdown, I felt like Ryan didn't do enough. I felt like he was like shell shocked.
He knew that he doesn't have the best defensive fundamentals. He knew if he got real happy with his hands, Rolly was gonna do that shit again.
You get that chin tap.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That was a thing, and
wait. You remember the lead up? The lead up was I remember this. The WBO mandatory that it was going to get ordered, and what if Ryan caught Boots with that left hook? Do y'all remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
That.
So many bulls about that. I had so many people like, "Oh, you just being a Boots." I said, "No, bro. Let's just stop this, man." Boots hits him with that left hook that you are from him.
Yo, if Boots hits him with anything,
I'm about to say
they
Boots got
forgot
a bag on him, bro. I
they
ain't gonna
forgot about
lie.
Luke Campbell. They forgot that Tank stopped. Like, what did y'all like? Come on, guys.
Boots got a little bag on him. I don't think nobody right
The
after what I
thing,
seen.
the thing I was saying with Ryan though is like he's flat-footed, so you
But what
gonna
did
be
everybody
susceptible
expect,
to a
bro?
lot of stuff, man.
What was everybody expecting with Ryan? Like I said, when did Ryan become all of a sudden like a pound for pound, you know what I mean, star? Like when all of a sudden, what fight was it like, oh yeah, bro, he dominated. We need to see him like he been skating out of these joints, kinda. You know what I'm saying? Like either be getting dropped or he be fight like coming back. It don't be just a dominant him. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
I haven't
Yo,
seen it lately.
you want the
yeah. Like,
truth, bro?
go ahead.
Talk to me
Hey, JR, this is for you. We got to keep it a bean, right? People make up in their mind who they want the next guy to be,
for
right?
sure.
So the next guy isn't always the guy that you want, but you notice that they'll anoint somebody. Like the next guy is clearly David Benavidez or Bam, right? But
Facts.
they want another Oscar De La Hoya, so they see Ryan and okay, well, you're going to be that guy. The reality is Ryan got famous from doing TikToks. Oscar De La Hoya got famous for beating people's ass in the amateurs. Two completely different like walks. So Ryan Garcia, Rolando Romero is a 2-division world champion. Ryan Garcia has never won a world title. Everybody won a world title out of that little group except for him. Everybody has won. Oh, no, my bad. Multiple divisions before Ryan's gotten his one. That's insane.
He never make that next step to be a full champ.
I think Ryan is the money. Ryan got money too fast. I think if that makes sense, where he skipped that.
You skip the process.
It's like, bro, I'm here. I'm Ryan Garcia. I'm the A side. I'm the payday. He skipped that. You know that hunger that I want to be great part. It's just like I got the money.
You
I
go
gotta,
from
you know, the money came a little too quick. I'm gonna say if I don't want to say it, that don't make sense, but that money came too quick.
that Fonseca joint, then the Luke Campbell, then the Tago, then you face Javier Fortuna, and then from Fortuna to get the Tank fight.
Got
Yep.
dropped in the tank joint.
Quit in the Tank, John.
You feel me? Who? Like I say, the Haney joint. I still personally thought Haney was fighting solid. I just think he took his eyes off the prize and got dropped. But I'm like Ryan. I haven't seen in the last 3 fights like a performance for me that Ryan answered any questions I had. Where it's like, no, okay, he shut up. He shut me up on this one. Like, nah, I want to see him fight this guy. Or it's like I still be questioning him after his performances. Like, dang, he got his chin hit. Now, if somebody else hit him, like say Tio, how much different would that be? Or if you know what I mean, like him at 47, if he was to fight Boots, the way Boots fought last fight, Boots in his bag. So I'm like, I don't think that would be as competitive as what people would think. Or I don't know who else is at 47 right now. You know what I mean? It's just Ryan stock, right? Like I said, it's the stock market in boxing. Ryan's stock went down a little bit after this fight.
So I mean that leaves, like we're saying, the options. Rolly was saying, hey, y'all can go ahead and still have that rematch, Ryan and Dale. But if for some reason that's not there, then what else Ryan has?
Kenneth Sims Jr.
Yeah, Kenneth Sims Jr. You know what I mean?
That's a good. I like that fight.
So
You don't like that fight.
I like that fight.
No, you don't.
Why not?
We all know the outcome of that fight. You don't. You like
Who you got?
Kenneth Sims Jr., bro. Come
Okay.
on. Yo, if they give him up to Kenneth Sims Jr., his career is over. It's over. It's done.
over.
It's done, yo.
I would like that fight.
L Dub says a maybe Alexis Rocha or Raul Curio for Ryan Garcia.
Raul Curio, that's a dangerous fight.
I haven't seen him fight before.
Raul Curio's dangerous for Ryan, bro.
What's his record? Like, how many fights he got around?
13 wins by way of knockout.
Yeah, a controversial one. That was a controversial one. They gave it to Roca. I don't know, yo.
Oh, that was the majority draw.
Ooh.
But
What about who next for Tio, bro? Who you think for Tio?
It depends on if he gonna stay at 140. I say shit. I want to see the unification with him and Twan, Gary Antoine,
Or Tio and Rolly. I like that.
Oh no, you a Philly guy, ain't you? You up there with the Philly Bulls?
Yeah.
He said he want boots, man. You a Philly bull, ain't you?
Tio don't
He
want
said that's what he said. I'm Dora the Explorer. That's what he said on the mic, didn't he? That's what he said. I'm Dora the Explorer. I'm looking for boots.
barbecue
Yo.
chicken.
Listen. It's different between watching the Discovery Channel and then swimming with Jaws, bro. Amanda Stanionis found that shit out the hard way, yo.
him
Tio, I ain't though, bro. I can't let you do
fighting
Tio
boots
like
is like
that.
100 men
Ooh.
fighting a gorilla.
Boom.
Tio, I.
Boots have beat
It's
the
100 men
ever-loving
versus
shit out of Teofimo Lopez, bro.
We gotta see it now, man.
Yeah,
Tio look good tonight. Boots look
Wait,
good.
wait.
I want to see
I got
it
a
now. That's
I got a question. This is something that we get caught up in, right? We'll see one guy again. Okay, so Tio look good, right? Arnold
Right.
Barbosa. Is Arnold Barbosa fast?
nah.
Does Arnold Barbosa have power?
I didn't see it tonight.
Have you ever seen Arnold Barbosa knock somebody out?
I mean,
No.
we can't act like Barboza just cheese, bro. He
I
ain't,
didn't-
he ain't
I-
got
well,
no unblemished.
It's not about him.
I
being
didn't say
cheap.
that. I'm asking you questions about boxing. I'm asking you what you've seen. Does Arnold Barbosa, is he a puncher? Would you classify him as a puncher?
I'm gonna say this: Tio showed that he was levels above all of that. Then he showed that this guy ain't. If you
Why you
everything you
can't
saying,
answer the question stuff?
because Tio answered all the questions tonight, and he
No, I
showed
asked you, does he have power?
Barboza.
Yes. Is he a puncher?
I didn't see it on display tonight.
You've seen Barbosa fight before?
Okay.
Did you see it against Jack Catterall?
Nah, I didn't see that fight. I seen the last joint though against dude fought that Ramirez.
Did he look like a puncher against Ramirez?
He was landing some shots.
All right. Is he a highly skilled fighter?
I'm gonna say this, bro. I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Boots. Did he outclass him tonight?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did Tio outclass everything? So
He did.
what else we even talking about? He outclassed him. He showed that Shawty not on my level. So
Yeah. Arnold Barbosa at 140 pounds was not on Tio's level. Yeah.
outclassed him.
When Boots went up against an undefeated world champion, he not only
Chikazian,
outclassed him, but he sent them to the morgue.
who Chikazian or Avanesian?
Amanda Stanionis is a world champion, is he not?
I was about to say them Avanesian fights make me get excited to see Tio. Now
Yo, you know there's weight classes for a reason, right?
Tio a big boy. He
No,
can go to 47.
What?
Tio could go to 47.
Have you ever seen Tio in person?
I think Tio could go to 47.
no.
Tio got
about
like he
5'7".
like Canelo. He got like a Canelo frame, if that make you know what I'm saying. He got that big back. Pause.
Hey, yo, please make that fight, please.
He got a
All right,
a
so
big-
we got to petition Turkey Al Sheikh to go ahead and make that fight between Jerron Boots Ennis
I would love to
and
see it.
Teofimo Lopez.
You really wouldn't.
Who else
really
for Boots? I'm gonna say. Who else would we want to see Boots fight that can fight? We know who he wants, Barrios and
Yeah.
Undisputed and all of that, but that ain't happening right
I
now.
gotta call somebody tomorrow.
Yo,
Look, we know Boots is chasing the Undisputed, but how long we going, you feel me, before what are the other options until you can get that to happen? What are the
I'm,
other
I'm,
fights that make sense?
I'm gonna say this, right?
Devin.
Arnold Barbosa is
You said Gary?
a solid fighter. He said
You said
Devin.
Gary Russell?
He said Devin. If Devin's serious
Oh,
about
Devin.
157,
Oh, I thought
not
you
I
said
don't,
Devin
Gary Russell. I
tonight,
said that'd be
not Devin
another
tonight,
good fight too.
not,
I
not
don't
the
want to see
Devin.
that
No,
either.
I ain't saying it's a good fight. I ain't saying Devin gonna
No.
beat.
He a Philly bull, man. He a Philly bull.
Yo, here's the thing. Why do people do that, yo? I'm just analyzing boxing. Did I not pick Teofimo Lopez? I thought he was going to stop Arnold Barbosa before the fight. I picked Rolly and I picked Devin, right? Me being from Philly has nothing to do with style and size. Teofimo Lopez cannot cut the ring off at all. What you saw tonight was a dude that came straight forward to T.O. If you come forward to T.O., he's gonna beat your ass, right? But when he actually has to create the offense, he can't because he fights in a bladed stance. And when you fight in a bladed stance, you give avenues when you give escape routes, right? So he's gonna get in there. T.O. was a hard punch at 35. He hasn't shown you any power at 140. For you to believe that he got power coming up at 147. And not only is he fighting 47, but he's fighting a huge 47 who's really fucking fast and got a whole lot of power. And that boxes equally good from both stances. And it's shown you that he has a chin. But somehow, him not being able to cut the ring off, you think that him versus that guy that got him about 3 to 4 inches, way naturally bigger man, hard punching at that weight, and just as fast as T.O., that's going to be a good fight.
I'm gonna say this, bro. I'm not hating on Boots because I like Boots. Boots is a, you know what I'm saying, world class fighter, no question. You know what I'm saying? But I did see him fight Abanesian, and I don't think Abanesian is a spring chicken. And I seen him propose some challenges. So I think T.O. could propose similar, if not more challenges than what a 35-year-old sitting on the couch Abanesian did. Because I know you seen that fight, right? I know you seen Abanesian and Boots fight.
We also seen.
So we can't act like Boots is just flawless.
Did he get stopped?
Who, Abanesian?
Yeah.
I mean, he's supposed to.
Okay. I want to ask you a question. George Kambosos, right? Since you want to bring up performances.
Right.
How'd that fight look?
Tough night. Off night.
No. How'd the fight look? Tell me how it looked.
Between T.O.?
Yeah.
It was an off night.
Just the off night?
That's his only loss, though, right?
Yeah. Tell me how many losses Boots got. You talk about an off night for Boots in a wide unanimous decision. An off night for
I'm
T.O.
saying T.O. was fighting for a belt at what, 15 fights?
He's also had off nights where he got by with
How many off nights you see T.O. had? How was Sandor Martin? How was that fight?
Do you think I'm gonna say?
No, I'll ask you. How was that fight?
Was Sandor?
Yeah, how was that fight?
He won, man. Like I was saying, each W gonna look differently.
Do I still got it?
Each W gonna look different.
Did he get dropped in that fight?
Yes, he did.
Each W look different.
He got dropped in that fight, right?
I would still like to see him versus Boots. I seen Boots' last few fights.
How did Jermaine Ortiz fight? How did that fight look?
Huh?
How did Jermaine Ortiz? How did that fight look?
These are T.O. I'm gonna say this, bro. T.O. be in a lot of competitive fights. I'll say he be matched toughly. He don't be just. He be very. He's had a fast track. What he fought for a world title in like 15 fights, right? Something like that. 15, 16 fights. He fought. He's fighting tough guys. It's not like he building his record up. 27 fights, 30 fights, and then I'm gonna start fighting these top guys. He fighting these top guys in the teens, 18 fights. You
do understand that has to do with promotion, right? And that has to do with routes to a world title.
Especially duck fights, though.
Wait a minute. Especially
look at what's currently happening with Keyshawn Davis.
Guys still duck fights.
Especially when you got guys that's holding up the division.
While Brian Norman and Boots ain't fighting, then they both world champions.
You gotta ask Brian Norman.
My point. So I hear what you're saying, but these guys still
I
sometimes,
ain't
you feel
asking
me?
Brian Corbin. Hey, Neil, you
Sometimes,
know what
look,
I'm at, Neil.
sometimes guys can, you feel me, take a different route, I'll say. So
Yo,
promotion, yeah, but they still the decision makers at the end of the day.
if you getting hurt, this is for my man and down on the right. If you getting hurt by
Right.
135, 140 pounds, right?
Right.
So I'm supposed to expect you to move up, and then you've shown no propensity to have power outside of the 135-pound division to go up against the biggest 147 in boxing, who's a Swiss Army knife. I'm expecting that to be a competitive fight. When I seen you get touched by dudes that I wouldn't consider punchers at the lower weight classes,
No, hell no, you can't expect that.
I'm coming from a place of logic. If you want to tell me that Virgil Ortiz has a chance, Virgil Ortiz, Jesus Ramos, then I'll tell you I think Boots beats him, but I can understand your logic. There is nothing logical that you can say that would make me believe that Teofimo Lopez versus Jerron Ennis would be one bit of competitive.
So
Not one bit.
you think Brian Norman is just head and shoulders better than T.O.? You think? Like if those two were to fight?
No, I think Brian Norman stops T.O. There are weight classes for a reason.
Again, this is a Teofimo Lopez that was a unified lightweight champion
People forgetting.
that won
Lightweight.
a title at 140. Yeah, unified lightweight champion. Wins the title at 140. That would potentially go up to 147 against fighters.
It's gonna make sense eventually. Eventually, he's gonna be at 47 if Boots stays.
At 147. That's the thing.
Hey, JR, how Boo Boo look against David Benavidez?
So,
two division world champ, right?
In that, right? It's a guy that looks like he was a guy at 154 going up against a guy that went down to 168. That's what happened in that fight between David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade.
I think T.O. still got crack. I ain't gonna let us fake on T.O. Like T.O. ain't got an accomplished resume. Like T.O. ain't beat Loma. Like T.O. ain't fighting these dogs.
T.O. might have the best right now out of his career. I'm not gonna take that as resume.
We can't slight T.O. like he Rolly. Okay. I'm not gonna let y'all drag T.O. like he just
Rolly his flowers after the night right now.
So T.O. definitely got to get his flowers. He a two-time, two-division, undisputed ring magazine.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
We bring up Teofimo Lopez versus.
We slighting my man like he a bum.
Right? Okay. Teofimo Lopez, who pretty much like started around his career at what, around 135 or whatnot, right? Where did Lomachenko start his career at?
What, 26 or 26, right?
Pretty much 26.
Yeah.
So you're talking about it's almost a similar case here.
Was it?
That's Lomachenko going up to from 126 to 130, and he hits 135, wins titles at 135, but doesn't necessarily have the crack at 135 that he had at 126 and 130, going up against a Teofimo Lopez, who was there naturally
real fast.
Around 135.
Wasn't Vasyl Lomachenko more accomplished than Teofimo Lopez at that time?
More accomplished.
Did it matter?
Nope.
Did any of his resume matter when they got in that ring?
That's the only thing I say. That's what I was about to say. T.O. might have the best resume, but the resume it doesn't.
Resumes don't win fights.
That ring.
But I'm saying, I'm gonna say this: he could have a resume full of L's. You feel what I'm saying? He winning these fights. These ain't just
Vasyl Lomachenko was winning these fights. He got in there with a bigger.
Lost to Orlando Salido.
I'm gonna say this: I'm not going against Boots. You feel what I'm saying? Because like I said, I'm a Boots fan. But I'm gonna say I did see flaws when I seen him fight Avanesian, where he was getting touched a lot. So I know T.O. can land them same shots.
Did he get touched as much as T.O. got touched against Cambosos?
He got touched enough.
Did he get touched as much as T.O. against Cambosos?
He got touched enough where I seen that, okay, if I feel like T.O. got more pop than Avanesian. I feel like T.O. got more speed than Avanesian. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel like he could land them similar shots and maybe have an effect. I could be wrong, but I seen a
That's the thing.
35-year-old.
I don't feel that way because, as I mentioned before, it's completely different when you're coming up from starting your career at 135, or pretty much, as they say, getting down to 135.
Some people got that dog in them, bro.
That's
like
getting
Crawford.
down to 147.
Crawford going to fight Canelo. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch that fight. We're gonna watch it. We're gonna sit there, we're gonna tune in, and we're gonna watch
You notice
it.
his triangle theory only works against Boots, but it doesn't work for Boots. So I can say, does Boots got more power and speed than Cambosos?
Then who?
Does Boots got more power and speed than Cambosos?
Yeah.
Okay. And Cambosos was able to touch T.O. up at will, right? Does Boots got more power and speed than Sandor Martin? See, the difference between your fights that you're naming with Boots,
he won them joints though,
and the fights that I'm naming with T.O.,
he won.
He lost to Cambosos.
All right, but I'm saying Sandor, he beat
Sandor. Sandor put him down, won. And all those fights that I named in T.O. either lost or it was controversial. You're saying Boots got touched up. He got a fifth round stoppage and he won all 5 rounds. The Karen fight, he won 12 rounds, and then the next fight, it was 9-3 with a knockdown. You were talking about fights where T.O. got knocked down or lost.
Ain't Avanesian one of Boots sparring partners now?
Yeah.
That's like a compliment right there, ain't it? That's good work. I mean, that's good work. We need that kind of work, right? Don't that's what that mean? You ain't gonna bring no bum in if you know he ain't on you. So I feel like if you bring in a 35-year-old Avanesian off the couch, that means that's good work.
Salute to David. Salute to David for coming through. It's hard finding work for a man Stanionis is a different style. Salute to him. That's all I'm going to say on that note.
So hold on. So you saying that T.O. ain't got no shot at all?
T.O. got a better shot at being Captain America. T.O. got a better shot of beating the Hulk. T.O. like I'm gonna tell you the same thing.
Try to beat the gorilla,
bro. Yeah, 100 T.O.s versus a gorilla. Got a better chance.
If that's the case, then right? If that's the case, we gotta see Boots versus Virgil. Forget the undisputed. That's the only fight that makes sense. The way you putting it, there ain't nobody else on this level. The only next fight we gotta see. Forget Brian Norman, because you gonna probably say he gonna wipe Norman out. So we don't even want to see that. We want to see you versus Virgil next. Guaranteed.
You saying it like Virgil's the only dude at 154. Virgil's not even a top 5 fighter at 154.
It's the most built up stock between those two.
Yeah, but that don't mean it's the best possible fight. That's a great fight.
It'll sell probably the best.
Still has to come to fruition, basically. You still got to see what Virgil Ortiz does. For starters, he got to recover from his hand injury. That's
you think that's a 50-50 fight, bro, or that how you see it?
What's a 50-50 fight?
Huh?
I said, what's a 50-50 fight?
Virgil and Boots.
No.
Yo, the only 50-50 fight for Boots at 54 is fucking Terrence Crawford. That's it. Or you could say Charlo if Charlo was active.
I would love to see these fights happen.
That's it.
I would love to see them happen. We like to make the best fights. I think Boots, like I say, world-class guy. I'm not trying to knock him. I'm a Boots fan.
Bakr Mortazayev, Terrence Crawford, Sebastian Fundora, Jamel Charlo. Who am I missing?
I think it's those 4.
Fundora, Charlo, Bud, Virgil, 54. Tim Tszyu, baby, but he ain't in that list. That's what I'm saying. He ain't in that list with them guys.
I'm gonna say this: it's certain guys that Boots is gonna swag on. Like if them punching guys that ain't got no Boots gonna swag on them guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm a Boots fan, bro. Like I said, I'm not trying to go against them. I like Boots. Boots. Them guys that them Bulls. Boots gonna manador them guys. Anybody that ain't got no sense to say I'm gonna pull back and I'm gonna switch up my angles and I'm gonna propose different. If you just coming straight forward, you Boost gonna get you. Boost gonna turn it on. Boost gonna swag on you. He gonna hit you with that right up, that left up. He gonna, you know what I'm saying? He gonna be there. But a guy I feel like that can propose a best challenge are guys that got a little bit of swag with them too, that can move and say, okay, I'm gonna make him come get me, and I'm gonna
All
try
right,
to, It's a lot of them guys that's going to be come forward fighters, and that's what Boost wants.
all
Any
right.
guy that just gonna come straight forward, oh
He's
man, that's when Boost gonna really show off.
all right.
But a
Real
guy like
quick.
say Tio, I feel like can propose different looks that might make Boost have to, you know, troubleshoot on the fly. Just
100
me.
Rolly versus one gorilla. Come on, man. What are we doing?
But he can't hurt him.
Oh my
What? What? Rolly or the gorilla?
No, I'm saying Tio can't hurt him.
Who Boots?
Yes,
God. He can't.
can't
That's
hurt.
cool. That's cool. But it'll be a good fight though.
It
All right.
won't.
You talk about the thing there with 154. Let me see if I got this thing on real quick. It should have it out here. So, the Transnational Boxing Rankings Board they got Charlo there as a champ. They got Backroom,
Cause
Fundora.
47, like Boots is clearly head and shoulders above all those guys, bro. Is we want to see the biggest fights. We know that you better than all these dudes, and it's not even gonna be entertaining because you're gonna get in there and dog these guys. We want to what's another fight that can really make the people get excited? Where we gonna throw a fight party and sit down and everybody gonna tune into Boots. What you think? What's a fight that I don't know if Ryan Norman got the drawing ability to make the hood come in, everybody sit down and watch that.
In my AB, in our AB voice, who gonna bring the hood out? I get what you saying. I'm like with Boots, bro. I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm like how Leonard Ellaby is for Tank at 135. For me, it's Boots versus everybody. I can't really find them, dude. That's why I'm with YSM. It's like the only one, but I agree with you on the Virgil point. Like I can see where you're going with the Virgil when you break it down, but I don't know, bro.
I mean, I like Tio because Tio ain't really showed me for big fights. I'll say the big fights Tio get up. I feel like more for those joints, and this would be a big fight where he would probably have to go to another level. You feel what I'm saying? He would have to. And like I say, I've seen. I'm not trying to hate on Boots, but I've seen him get touched a couple times. Where, like I say, it's not just like okay, he's just invincible. It's okay.
Yeah, but
Somebody else
even
that maybe is
but
younger and faster could land these same shots.
even with what we've seen, Tio just doesn't have the effect that'll really phase Boots in this like that. I don't see that. Like I don't see it.
Yo,
So
bro.
if he's able to land some shots on Boots, okay, cool. But outside of that, like he's not gonna be able to really do something to affect.
Tio got speed. Yeah. Tio got speed, so he can land. Tio got crack, so he can land.
Hey, yo, you never heard the term "the good big man beats the good little man"?
In some cases,
I name one case.
what would the good big man beat the? I
The
don't
good
know, bro.
little man.
These your metaphors, bro. I
No,
don't
you
know.
said in some cases, right?
I'm gonna say I seen
there's
Boots fight
one
Abanesian,
example is
and
The
I should have
Abanesian.
thought Boots would
this
have
depends
flushed
on
Abanesian all the way
how you
through.
measure it.
Didn't he get stopped?
He took a little bit of punishment too. He got
How much
touched up more than he should have. I'll say.
and how much punishment did he take against Cambosos, bro?
We already agreed that's a bad night. We already agreed on
Yeah,
that.
but you notice that you're critical of Boots' nights and his wins than you are in Tio's losses.
No. What I'm saying, I said I want to see the fight. That's what I said. I want to see them two
No,
fight. I
I'm
ain't
saying
criticizing Boots.
when you're analyzing the fight, right? I'm analyzing the fight strictly from a skills and size aspect. The things that T.O. does well, Boots also does well with more size and power. You haven't seen Teofimo Lopez at 147 pounds to know that he's going to be as fast, but you've seen T.O. at 140 pounds, and you've seen T.O. get hurt by 35s and 40s who weren't considered big punchers. I'm not making this up. So he's going to move up in weight and fight a dude that has his same strengths, that has those strengths with more size and more power.
I'm gonna say this, bro. Do you think what we seen tonight? Do you think T.O. could beat Ryan?
I've always thought T.O. could beat Ryan.
Do you think T.O. could beat Haney from what we seen tonight?
No.
They both at 147, right? So that's what I'm saying. It ain't like no huge jump. Tonight, what I think T.O. beat Ryan, and I think T.O. beat Haney tonight.
Go ahead, Jay, because I already know where you're going with this.
You're talking about fighters that aren't starting their careers off at 147. They're around that same range as Teofimo Lopez. So they're pretty much around that same frame and that same type of build. They're not like getting down from a 168 or something like that, or a 165 to get down to 147. They're around that same weight to get down to a 140 or 135. You're talking about a Devin Haney that was at 135, that was actually the undisputed lightweight champion. So he's been in the same division as Teofimo Lopez was.
Look, we just seen Conor Ben go up and put on a performance of a lifetime. If you can go, you can go.
He lost to a 36-year-old who was weight drained.
Point blank. If you can go, you can go.
He lost to a 36-year-old that was weight drained, bro.
So what's the fight for Boots then, bro? Conor Ben?
No.
You talking about a fight that I think is going to be competitive?
For Boots, yeah. Give me three. Give me 3 fights. I can't hit. There ain't no fight out there that makes sense right now. That's what I'm hearing.
Terrence Crawford.
That's not happening.
Jamel Charlo. Sebastian Fundora.
And they're all right here in this junior middleweight list.
I don't think he get Crawford though. I think that shit sells.
I would. No, that's barbecue chicken for Boots. 3 fights, whether you would say they're interesting or not, or something that I would want to see with Boots in this, and it wouldn't be at 147. Mel Charlo, Fundora, and depending on what happens next with this fighter, Jesus Ramos.
I've always wanted to see Boots and Jesus. I like that fight.
Those are the 3 that I would like to see. All at 154.
I like Jesus.
I feel like any of them guys that ain't got enough bag, Boots is gonna swag on them, bro. You feel me? Like Charlo coming back from a layoff, so we gotta see Charlo. I want to see Charlo get at least 2 fights before he get into something big. That's why everybody want Charlo now. When Charlo was knocking everybody out, ain't nobody. You know what I mean?
Depending on
they try and time him.
I don't know about me with Charlo unless something happened behind the scenes with him. So
I can't even see that joint, bro. You can make that joint bigger.
Hold on. Let me see if I got this joint here, man.
What is that?
So you got Backroom, you got Fundora, you got Crawford, you got Virgil. You know what I'm saying? Hold on. You got Boachuk, Madrimov, Jesus Ramos, Tim Tszyu.
Give me
that better
T.O.
not be Michael Sora.
Give me T.O. I want T.O.
Huh?
T.O. versus Boots by the end of the year. Let's make it happen.
Yo,
my man T.O. put a name on it. That's why I respect it even more.
Hey, yo, for everybody else that's on here, and then after T.O. gets knocked out in less than 5 rounds, they gonna be like, "Oh man, you picking on lightweights."
We ain't seen T.O. get knocked out before.
He's going to get knocked out.
We
bro.
never seen him get knocked out before.
He's gonna get.
He's going to get knocked out.
He's gonna get stretched. This barbecue chicken, yo.
Let's see.
Barbecue chicken.
Look, you heard. Hey, it's not me. This is not me saying this. This is not me. You feel me? Let's get that clear. It's not me just saying this. My man Tio himself got on that joint on big. That's what he said. He put a name on it.
Hey, he got on there and said he wanted Terrence. He said he wanted Terrence Crawford before too, right? You wanted to
My
see
man
that?
got on there and put an ad on it. He said,
Did
"This
you
is who I
want
want
to see him
direct."
and Terrence Crawford?
Who?
Did you want to see Tio and Terrence Crawford?
I wouldn't mind.
Man, you wouldn't mind.
I wouldn't mind. Why Tio not deserving? Why y'all think Tio not deserving?
A bud though.
I'm saying, what make Tio not deserving of these fights? If all these other guys, if Ryan Garcia can fight Tank,
because your resume gonna always get you put in there. But I think what bro YSM talking about is just off of basic what he's seeing skill wise. Are you sure Tio can beat Devin Haney if they had 147?
what I seen tonight and what everybody else was saying, yeah, 100%.
Has Tio learned how to cut the ring off yet?
He looked flawless tonight to me. But they say you're only as good as your last performance.
But that's how you get. That's how motherfuckers get drawn in with thinking dudes are going to be competitive in certain fights because you're looking at them fight somebody else. Styles
That's why
make
we gotta
fights.
see these guys fight. That's the only
Styles
way.
make fights. Styles.
That's the only way. They gotta fight. Tonight, Tio looked flawless. Flawless. Start to finish, flawless. Everybody else's favorite fighters, Ryan and Devin, was questions out there tonight. There's no questions after Tio's performance tonight.
I got a question for you. Did Dev lose a round?
Nah. Maybe he might have gave one away, but nah.
So isn't the goal winning?
Hey, come on, man. You heard what Coach Herman was said. You play to win the game.
Tio only got one loss, 2-time undisputed, 2-division champion. Why not add 3?
He's not undisputed.
2-time undisputed? When did he win undisputed?
He beat the man that was the man. Forget it.
Fuck does that mean?
He got more belts than a lot of these other guys. In the case, I'm gonna say that.
Okay.
He got more straps in the crib than a lot of these guys.
Undisputed means no dispute.
What have you seen? What have you seen from Teofimo Lopez that could neutralize what Devin Haney has been able to do in the ring?
Right.
Neutralize Haney?
Mm-hmm.
Crack? He gonna stop
when he showed you that at 140.
He gonna put that crack on him?
At 140.
Who, Tio? Yeah.
Who Tio cracked that 140?
Yeah.
Who Tio cracked that 140, yo?
Tio be hurting these guys, man.
I said, okay, who he cracked that 140? Let me know.
It's only like his second fight at 40, ain't it? Or was it third?
No.
It's like seventh fight at 40, man.
Yeah. Like,
he's been at 40 for a little minute now.
Who he fought the dude, Claggett,
how about this?
Taylor, and this one, right? Claggett, Taylor, and this. This is third fight, ain't it?
No.
Who he fought? Claggett? He fought Taylor first.
He fought Pedro Campa, Sandor Martin.
At 40?
Yeah.
Josh Taylor.
We won the belt.
Jermaine Ortiz, Steve Claggett, Arnold Barbosa. 6 dudes.
Beat him. Get him out of here. Pack him up. What we talking about? Pack them up.
You love this
They
dude,
lost.
yo.
They lost. Am I lying? Did they lose? Did they lose?
They did.
Yo, what we talking about then? If they lost.
Wait. So you said since they lost, there's nothing to talk about. Then why do you keep bringing up dudes that Jerron Ennis stopped or beat?
I said we want to see Tio and him fight.
I don't want to see Tio.
I want to see that shit.
You want to see Tio.
You want to see that
Who else
shit.
out there for him to fight? Virgil. We want to see that, but clearly they didn't want to fight. So what else?
No, clearly he didn't want to move up to 154 when Virgil wanted to move up. Like, bro,
When
Realize that fight wasn't for Boots, right? That
Why
date,
not?
because it was a Terrence Crawford, Virgil Ortiz date. You knew that, right?
What that mean?
Okay, the February 22nd fight. I want to take you back, right? Boots fought November 9th. Okay? Terrence Crawford, Virgil Ortiz was being negotiated by Turkey Al-Ashiki. Bud said, the only person I'm fighting is Canelo. So the next person they called was Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora wanted to go in the bout with Spence. Then they called Boots. It wasn't a situation where, no, Boots, move up to 154 and fight Virgil. We'll negotiate a date. No, it was either you fight February 22nd or you don't fight.
And it's
So
coming off of fighting in November 9th.
November 9th, you moving up to 154. You fighting on his date with less than 2 months to prepare, along with you being a bigger draw and him not being a world champion. These are all facts. Now you telling me you would have did that?
Still a good fight.
It is a good fight. But
Both
why
in
did it
their
have to be on
prime,
February
both
22nd?
equally yoked, both. It makes sense. Both
Under
undefeated.
Under those circumstances, did it make sense?
I don't know all of that.
I
That's you
know
telling
it
me, so
did make sense,
I don't
though.
know. But from what I've seen from the naked eye, that's the fight that I would love to see as a fight fan.
We have to.
I want to see Boots and Brian Norman Jr. Now,
But they don't want to fight. How long you gonna chase that before you move on? How long you gonna keep chasing? Clearly, they don't want to fight.
Like,
Boots.
hey, Neil, like I said, I have to, call somebody. But
Bro,
If fighters want to fight, bro, trust and believe it's not hard. If they say I want to fight, and two fighters say let's fight, they gonna figure it out.
now
They
I
don't
agree
want to fight.
in that situation where the main promoter is saying, let's make it happen. So I give you that. I think Norman do want to fight my man, but I don't know.
They don't want to fight.
well, we know who Brian Norman is on the contract with.
They don't want to fight. So how long you gonna chase? How long you gonna keep chasing that fight? And then what other fights for Boots is gonna bring out, like you say, that he gonna get up for a name that's worth anybody really? You know what I'm saying? Like I say, the hood sitting down, and who else? Who else? Who got a profile big enough to make it worthwhile and interesting?
if you want to talk about like what makes sense legacy wise, what makes sense financially,
At 47, who?
At 147 pounds, the only person that would be available coming off of a quality performance is Teofimo Lopez. You ask me, do I want to see that? I want to see competitive fights. That's a fight I already know the outcome. That's a
Like
fight
you
that
say,
person.
like you just said, a quality such and such coming off with such and such. Tio, maybe.
I'm giving you financials. There's shit.
That's what they want.
There's shit that's good for business, and there's shit that's good for legacy, right? Legacy wise, a better fight is Bakr Mortazayev. For legacy.
Do the common folks, are we gonna be going to the bars to sit down and watch that fight though? Are we gonna order that and everybody gonna come over to the house and we're gonna watch that fight and throw a fight party for
Are you
that
a Gervonta Davis fan?
Hell yeah, 135. Hell yeah.
Okay.
Ain't cool.
Question, right?
Right.
Was Lamont Roach a fight that the whole hood would get behind, or they were saying that it was a cherry pick?
You know what they were saying.
How'd that fight look?
Right.
But fight the hood should have got behind.
But did they though? Leading up to it. We know the outcome. Leading up to it. Did they?
No, but it's about what you value, right? Whatever you're valuing, you're valuing non-competitive fights that the hood's gonna get behind. Cool.
And then didn't Lamont move up, right?
Lamont
Yeah,
started his career.
but you do understand that.
But he moved up in weight to fight Tank, though, didn't he?
Yeah, but you do
He
understand
started
that
his
Tank used to
career
fight at that weight,
Okay.
right?
of
You understand
That
the
was a good
difference?
fight, though, right?
130.
But do you understand the difference between fighting somebody that used to be at that weight class with you?
That was a good fight, though, was it?
It was a good fight, but Tank was a career 130. So he's not a big man.
How long you been at 35, though?
He's been at 35 for like what, 2-3 years?
Maybe.
When did he fight Pedraza? What's his the pay?
Pedraza was at 30.
Yeah, that was a
it?
while ago.
That was a while.
When he won his first title at 35, was it Fortuna?
Nah, his first title at 135 was he just won it.
No, that was Gamboa.
It wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Gamboa.
No, remember Leo Santa Cruz? What you talking about? The Reggie belt or the real belt?
The Leo was a
30,
Leo
wasn't
Jones
it? That
at
was
30.
at 30.
yeah,
That was at 30.
But the thing was, it had the super feather and the super feather and the lightweight title on.
Oh, no, wait, and the Reggie belt. Say that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I had the Reggie Jones. All right.
Yeah.
I didn't really count that, John, but I got you.
Right. But yeah, he was competing at the lightweight division at that point.
From a fight build up, from a numbers perspective, that's gonna make the most money. The fight build up gonna be there, the most entertaining. People gonna actually come out and travel from California and New York and all of this to actually come out and make time to see this fight. Tio would be the best guy. I'm not gonna lie to you, Tio. And Tio gonna actually put on the show in there. It ain't gonna be I ain't gonna let y'all just talk about Tio like
which would be the
like
more attractive fight? Boots versus Tio or Boots versus Norman?
Which one's a more realistic fight? The one that's more realistic.
No, I don't know. Top Rank gonna let him off the leash. That's my only thing. I think the Normans want the gym. I don't know if Top Rank is really trusting on. That's what I personally think it is. I don't think Top Rank really trusts on.
As I was mentioning earlier, there was a tease that Teofimo Lopez could have been out there for Boots Ennis.
Tio said that's what he want. You heard that man. You heard what that man said.
Right.
I'm Dora the Explorer.
Let me make some phone calls to Mr. Moret. You know what? I ain't even gonna mention him.
They both like the same age, ain't they?
Who?
They around the same age. Boots and them, they in the same class, I'm gonna say.
27, Tio 27.
They in the same class, the same boxing class. I like that fight.
Well, like I was saying.
And the promoters, they
Mr.
probably like that fight too. And when they really sit back and think, they like that fight too.
Yeah, it's only one person that don't like the fight.
You.
No.
Who?
Boots.
Like, come on, man. Like when you
Boots knows he's gonna knock him out, and he knows exactly what's gonna happen after he knocks him out. It's the same thing that happens after he knocks everybody out. Respectfully. Every time he gets a win, all of a sudden the dude doesn't become good. Or there's some excuse, some asterisk, right?
That's how you shut us up, man. That's how you shut us up. Go out there and shut us up. I'll be the first person, bro, to be like, yo, I was dead wrong.
Let's talk. They wanted to see him fight a live dog, right? Stanionis was a live dog when they said Boots lowballed him. Remember that? When they said Boots was out there giving low ball offers, you giving out low ball offers because y'all scared. As soon as he carved Stanionis up, now all of a sudden Stanionis was never that good. He only had 15 fights.
He was inactive. He wasn't that, come on. I mean,
all right. So what do you think Boots' best statement performance was?
He just brutally stopped. He just brutally stopped the undefeated world champion, did he not?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was it.
That's the fight you would say go watch if you want to, if you putting somebody on to boxing, you putting somebody on to you introducing them to fighters. That's the fight you would recommend.
You as good as your last fight.
Whose
Okay.
performance was better?
That's
I'm
why I
waiting
want to
for
see
it.
both of them fight.
No. I asked you a question. Whose performance was better though?
I mean, it was more on the line, I guess, for uh for Boots.
Whose performance was better?
Like, what were you more impressed with? Come on, top pick.
I didn't really see Boots' last fight because I was working another fight, so I didn't really even get to watch his joint. It was a fight the same night. The Pro Box fight.
The
It was the
Pro
same
Box
night.
was the
Oh,
same
you a
night.
DC ball?
Yeah, the Pro Box fight was the same night, so I didn't even get to
Oh, you
watch
a
the
D?
joint.
Okay, so you all right. Now I get it. It's all coming together.
And I didn't been to Boots' last in person, not on TV. The Avanesian and the fight against
Is that fight on
Corinne.
YouTube? Is that
Huh?
fight on YouTube right now?
Who?
What?
Stanley Otis.
Yeah. I mean, I
Let's
checked the
cut that
joint.
joint on. Let's cut that joint on, man. Come on.
I don't know, man.
Come on.
You know we can't do that on here with
So
you.
you
Let's
don't
cut
think
that on,
T.O.
man.
You don't think T.O. stand no kind of
No.
he a Philly
Nigga,
bull, man.
you said I'm a Philly boy.
No.
I just said Brian Norman stops TO2.
Who Brian Norman fought in his last fight?
He fought Derek Cuevas.
Derek Cuevas.
Okay.
No,
Well, when
no,
Brian Norman gets one of those like household names on that resume, then maybe we could talk like that.
Who does Steve Claggett got on the resume that he could get a TO fight? Like,
I need one of those notable names. I need you to have a couple of noticeable
here we
names to be
go.
in that
Here we go
bracket.
with this shit. Here
Come
we go.
on,
Yo.
man.
Right? You gotta deserve these fights.
And y'all do know that I ain't even mentioned the odds for
Brian just co-main Michaela Mayer, didn't he? He just co-main Michaela, didn't he?
Yeah.
I can't even. I
don't know if the revenue is the same. You feel what I'm saying?
What was the Steve Claggett revenue? What was that?
I don't know if he co-maining Michaela. I don't know if he
Steve
doing
Claggett,
TO
John.
numbers.
Where's his revenue? Bro?
Steve Claggett in Miami Beach. Like, what was that?
See, look, but you see how y'all skip over Loma though, right? Y'all skip over. Y'all won't bring that fight up.
Was it?
Y'all
That
talk
was
about
like in a-
Cambosis
that
and
was
Steve
like in
Claggett, but y'all leave out Lomachenko when he was the man.
arena. No fair.
Y'all won't say that Tio gave Loma his first loss for real. Not the second loss of his career, but the loss. Nobody gonna bring that up.
But again, it's
Nobody gonna talk about when he knocked out Comey. Ain't nobody gonna bring up none of these other fights. Josh Taylor, we talking about Cambosis. He had a bad night. Okay. What Drake say? Bama's caught me slipping once. Okay, so what?
Hey, yo, you got more excuses than a deadbeat at child support court, bro.
T.O. is a deserving fighter.
Excuses, bro.
T.O. is a deserving.
When AB say he got cooked.
Look, we gotta respect boxing, bro. We gotta respect boxing.
He said he got cooked.
But y'all
T.O. has deserved all of these opportunities. Like,
you gotta respect matchups, dude. Okay,
we gotta respect boxing.
wait, all right,
Hey,
hold on. I guess with his fight against Josh Taylor, you could probably say that.
Don't move the goalposts.
Himself at 140?
Don't move the goalposts.
Or does he still have work to do at 140?
Who, T.O.?
Yes, T.O.
If he was to fight Boots, I wouldn't be mad at that fight because he's chasing a legacy. That's a legacy defining fight. You know what I'm saying? That's one of those like classic.
What about Gary Antoine?
What makes
Boots? I would like that because they got history.
But you don't like it for T.O.? You don't like a unification belt?
Sure. We already talked about that. We already said we would welcome that, but I would like that with Boots because they got more history.
That's not a competitive fight.
So Boots stop Gary?
Yes. Gary comes into the fights at 137.
Where you at now, baby? Talk to me.
He comes into fights at 137, bro.
Gary Antoine could still, if he really wanted to,
he could make 135.
He could still make 135.
Who win that fight? Boxing source. Who win that fight? Boots or Twan?
I'm trying to get my man jammed up.
Hold on. Jamil knows this. Again, There's
Stop
weight
dancing
classes
around the
for a
question,
reason.
man.
There's weight classes for a reason.
He classes for a reason, bro.
Again, what did I say about Bruce Ennis? Going from 160 whatever to make it to 147 in a comparison to a fighter that could make 135 if he wanted to.
Who do you think wins?
Boots.
Over Twan?
Yes.
Hallelujah.
And
Okay.
did I even hesitate?
Yeah, you did. It took 3
No, I
minutes
didn't.
to spit out the answer because you
No, I
ain't.
didn't.
Yeah,
Why did I say that there was weight classes for a reason?
I would like to see that fight then because they got history, don't they?
I would only like to see the fight if Twan get fights at 47. To me, it's not fair.
Like,
It's not fair to him.
it's
Well,
not.
I'm gonna say, bro, Boots is out of options. You feel what I'm saying? Like as far as like making Boots is with a big promotion company now, so it's not like them bankrolling it out they sell where they could just get mediocre. Like we want to see Boots fighting big promotion company style fights. So we don't want to see him fight a bunch of mandatories and a bunch of no disrespect to Karen Chikazians and who he about to fight the
But
dude
again, but
Giasov.
again,
We don't
the
want to see
reason,
him fight Giasov,
but
bro.
once
We don't
again,
want to see that
Fight
fight.
is, though.
but
What's
once
up?
again, the
That's just
reason why
mandatory now.
those
They
fights,
mandatory them for that, right?
What does that
WBA.
again,
mean?
again,
We don't want
the
to see no
reason
Giasov fight.
why those fights are there is because the unifications aren't coming through. Just like with the Karen
Give me
rematch.
Tio over Giasov 10 days out the week. 10 days out the week. Giasov, give me Tiafimo versus Boots versus instead of Giasov versus Boots. I'll mess around and be watching that joint and fall asleep on that fight. I promise to God, bro. I will fall asleep on something like that. Unless Boots stop him in the first half of the fight, I'm going to sleep. I promise you, I'm not staying up that
Boots is
late
gonna
for it.
stop Till the first half of the fight too. So
I feel like that fight would be more electric though.
like, come on.
I ain't seen
Oh
Tio.
man.
I ain't never seen Tio get stopped, so I can't say that.
Oh
What make
man.
y'all think that?
Round one says Boots need to move up. He looks like a skeleton in the closet at the weigh-ins. I don't know about that. But come on, man. Why you trying to feed Tio, man? Like, come on, man.
Tio said that's what he want. Boots ain't got too many
Again, like
options.
we were saying earlier, he also said that he wanted Terrence Crawford.
Look, Boots ain't got that many options. We want to see Boots back in the ring ASAP because you know how this go. We always
Okay,
want to see. We want to see
okay.
the best guy
Here's another thing
challenged.
too. Here's another thing too, right? We're this is a sport of boxing, and one of the things that we get caught up with is that we over sensationalize fighters here in this era,
Tio
right?
got the credentials. Don't do that.
Because we want it seems like a number of the fans want these big fights every single time. When 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, they weren't necessarily doing that. Like they had to have one-offs. Like we're not gonna see like big fights every 3 months or so with these fighters. Like we're not seeing them
I
fighting
know
4 times
that.
a year. So if you want to get them or you want to have them stay active, they gotta have some type of one-offs, and we don't really see that much anymore. You know, and like coming up with a fight like this, Boots versus Tio. Like when there's multiple options for Teofimo Lopez at 140 for starters, right? And there are
Like
options
who?
for Boots Ennis at 147 and 154. Why match up Boots and Tio?
You said why not have Boots and who?
With Teofimo Lopez at 140 pounds, and there being multiple matchups out there for Teofimo Lopez at 140, right? And there being multiple matchups for Jerome Boots Ennis at 147 and 154. Why have Boots and Tio match up with each other?
I don't know, but I know that Tio said that's the fight he want. So I mean, he ain't ducking no rack. And you know, most guys. I'm gonna say this, bro. Guys, a lot of times, guys will say stuff like this. Oh man, I'll fight any of those guys. Give me any of them. You know what I'm saying? That'll just be a general thing for their pride and ego. But when you specifically say a name, you basically letting the person know I'm with it. You know what I'm saying? When you put a name on it instead of just saying, "Hey, I'm ready for all the top guys in the division, bring them my way," or when you put a name on it, you basically like pressing somebody's
Yeah.
doorbell. You
All right.
ringing a doorbell, basically.
All
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
So I'm gonna try to close the show, land the plane on this. Like it was mentioned earlier, like I said, that fight was teased last year. Didn't necessarily go through with Teofimo Lopez. The other thing too is also Teofimo Lopez was supposed to be headlining an event to defend that WBO in Ring Magazine super lightweight title against Subriel Matias. That also didn't go through. So and you're saying that Teofimo Lopez isn't necessarily ducking no smoke when we know that there have been instances that he has been offered fights with high profile opponents at 140 and 147.
That's the
And,
business.
you know,
That's the business. That happens sometimes. I ain't
uh,
getting paid what I feel like I'm worth. I don't want that fight. I want more. That's the
you
business. That goes
can't
like
say
that
that with
sometimes.
Teofimo Lopez because Teofimo Lopez really ate that guy when it comes to the overall draw. So that's the thing there. But with that being said, man, this is like over 2 hours and 30 minutes here in this live podcast. Shout out to the topic. Shout out to Smitty, the elephant in the room. Shout out to YSM Sports Media here for this reaction, the Boston Source reaction on what was happening on Friday. We still got action on Saturday and Sunday. And then here on the channel here, the Boston Source YouTube channel on Monday evening, we're going to have a special show here for 10 years of the Boston Source doing a podcast. So we're going to have that here scheduled for Monday. And we're going to see if we're going to have, the Shark season here. Derek Scooter Davis on for Monday as well. So that'll be a special guest scheduled for Monday. But like I was saying, man, we got a lot of action still left to go here this weekend. Y'all enjoy the fights, and big thanks for everyone that's been able to join in live. And I'll catch y'all later. Peace out.
All right, Joe.